Hey, everybody. Today we're debating whether or not Islam is true, and we are starting right now with Apostate Prophet's opening statement. Thanks so much for being with us. Apostate Prophet, the floor is all yours.
First off, thank you so much, James, for organizing this. Thank you, Dr. Abdul Majid, for offering this debate and for being here. I really appreciate the opportunity to have a proper, fruitful debate on this. So I want to argue today for the idea, or as I see it, for the fact that Islam is not true, that Islam is false. And I want to start immediately by sharing a presentation in order to get a better understanding of what we are talking about. If you can see me, I'm weird down there in the bottom. That's good. Okay, this is how it works. So we're talking today about why Islam is false. Islam relies on the articles of faith as they are known. Some people know them as the pillars of faith, or the articles of Iman. And these are 6 in Islam: the belief in Allah, the belief in prophets, the belief in scripture, the belief in angels, the belief in predestination, and the belief in the afterlife. All of these are relevant to us, but one of these, which is angels, cannot really be addressed today and is not very much relevant. It is more about the foundations of Allah, prophets, and scripture. We can elaborate on this whole issue more if we look at the Islamic creed. If you want to join Islam and you want to become a Muslim, then it is important not only to believe in Allah, but also to believe in Muhammad. The Islamic creed, the Shahada, goes, I testify that there is no God but Allah, and I testify that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So it is not only sufficient to believe in Allah, but also to believe in Muhammad and to follow him fully. And in order to believe in Allah and Muhammad, you have to also believe in the Quran and follow that to the fullest, because the Quran is taught to be the perfect word of Allah revealed through the mouth, the lips of Muhammad. So what I want to do today is to cross out angels entirely. It's not very much relevant. I want to focus on Allah together with predestination and afterlife, because these are part of the entire doctrine of Allah. And I also want to focus on the matter of prophets and on scripture. To be precise, when I say prophets, I want to precisely focus on Muhammad, and when I say scripture, I want to focus on the Quran. Now, when we come to the first topic, which is Allah, the major foundation of Islam, we have several thoughts here, several teachings, doctrines that come together with the belief in Allah. Those are that Allah created humans just so they worship him. This is mentioned in Quran chapter 51 verse 56. Allah created life and death to test humans. This is in Quran chapter 67 verse 2. I will not further mention the chapter and verses. They are all attached to right at the end to make it easier. Allah predetermined everything before it happens in a register known as the book before he created it. The teaching is that Allah creates everything, decrees what will happen, and then he brings it forth, and then it happens only by his will. It says further in the Quran that Allah guides and misguides whom he wills, and that nobody can guide someone whom Allah has not guided. It says in chapter 10, verse 99 and 100, I want to emphasize this because this is very important to me. It says that no one can believe unless Allah wants them to believe. It says, if Allah wanted everyone on the earth to believe, they would all believe. And it says no soul can believe except by the permission of Allah, very explicitly. Further, it says in the first full chapter, which is Quran chapter 2, that Allah has set upon a seal upon the hearts of the disbelievers. And finally, one more example, Allah created many humans for hell in chapter 7. But I want to go fully into this verse briefly, because I think this is very significant. The verse clearly says, and we have certainly created for hell many of the jinn and mankind. Jinn are not important to us. They are believed to be mythical parallel beings in the world. They have hearts with which they do not understand. They have eyes with which they do not see, and they have ears with which they do not hear. Those are like livestock. Rather, they are more astray. It is they who are the heedless. I don't want to focus very much on the whole, moral discussion of what it implies that the disbelievers are like livestock. I want to focus more on the fact that the Quran clearly says that Allah created humans for hell, and they cannot understand, they cannot see, they cannot comprehend. Now, based on this, apparently I need to skip you on the screen. Based on this, we have the following thoughts. Number one, Allah creates humans just so they worship him, as the Quran says. But we also see that Allah creates many humans for hell. So he creates people just so they worship him, but he creates many humans for hell. Allah chooses what people will believe in. He decrees everything before it happens. That means Allah also chooses disbelief for humans. He decrees it. Allah guides and misguides whom he wills. By this we understand that Allah does not guide the disbelievers. On the contrary, Allah misguides the disbelievers. In the explicit words of the Quran, Allah leads them astray. Allah punishes the disbelievers for what he decreed upon them for disbelief. And finally, the final thought is Allah punishes his own perfect design. The thought here is that Allah, before creating humans just so they worship him, he creates them in a very precise, very strictly designed way. He designs them exactly as they are. And then with the capabilities, with the functions of their brain, with their environment and everything that they have, which he perfectly designed by his will, he eventually punishes them for disbelieving, and he rewards others for believing, although it is all his design, his creation, all his decree. Does that make sense? To me, it doesn't. I think I see here many major contradictions. By this standard, by this approach, I would come to the conclusion that the belief in Allah is a little bit nonsensical. It's not very coherent. It's quite illogical. Further, when we come to Muhammad, which is the second topic, we have certain thoughts about Muhammad, which is that Islam relies on Muhammad's prophethood. Islam reveals the Quran, which Allah reveals to him through his mouth to the audiences. According to the Quran and according to the Islamic narrative, Muhammad always speaks the truth. Muslims have the obligation to obey Muhammad fully and to believe him. That's what the Islamic religion depends on. The Quran says that Muhammad does not speak of his own desire. He is guided and inspired by Allah. He is always guided and inspired by Allah. If Muhammad makes false prophecies or spreads falsehood, he cannot be trusted and Islam crumbles. I want to come to one specific hadith, one specific narration about Muhammad that I find extremely crucial, which tells us a lot about who Muhammad was and what he said. In this narration, it says, a person asked Allah's apostle, when would the last hour come? Thereupon Allah's messenger kept quiet for a while, then looked at a young boy in his presence and said, if this boy lives, he would not grow very old till the last hour would come to you. This is in Sahih Muslim and a very reliable hadith by Islamic standards. So if it is not clear, the people come and ask him about the last hour, which, as it is familiar in the scripture, refers to the day of judgment. He then stops and says, before this boy grows very old, the last hour will come. Now, Muslim apologists have reinterpretations for that, and I'm sure we will get into that. But it is very clear from a plain reading that this is a false prophecy. The last hour did not come. I don't think I have to say that. By this, we can conclude the following syllogism. A, if Muhammad made false prophecies, then he is not a true prophet and Islam is false. B, Muhammad made a false prophecy. C, therefore, Muhammad is not a true prophet. Islam is false. We have, of course, more examples to that, such as that he said, I and the day of judgment have been sent like this, and he made a sign with his fingers, like very close, that soon there will be a huge treasure of gold uncovered by the Euphrates, which will go dry. The Euphrates did not go dry since then. He said that Jesus will soon descend among you. Islam does take Jesus and reinterprets him. He says that there is a big turmoil at hand. This tribe called Gog and Magog will soon invade the world. Never happened. We don't have any signs of such a thing. He said that the women of the Daws tribe will move around Dhul Khalasa. Dhul Khalasa was a temple like the Kaaba in Yemen that existed that Muhammad later destroyed. So this prophecy is no longer possible. And finally, he also says that the sun will rise from its setting place, which is a completely false description of the world. But we will come to that in the next and final step, the Quran. The Quran, we have certain teachings about the Quran, which the Quran tells on its own. It says right at the beginning, this is the book about which there is no doubt. It further says, then do they not reflect upon the Quran? If it had been from any other than Allah, they would have found within it much contradiction. So by the Quran's own standards, since it is word for word the speech of Allah, if it is from Allah, then it must be 100% true. If there was only one mistake, then Islam is false. Now, we have certain examples. Some of them are very popular. Others are just my favorites. It says in the Quran that semen comes from between backbones and ribs. It says that stars are missiles that are thrown at rebellious devils. It says that the sun runs toward its resting place, literally, which is something that is explained even in more detail by Muhammad. It says that the moon has split asunder, the favorite belief that the moon has split in two in Muhammad's time, which is something that makes no sense because we would have witnesses of that in the 7th century. We don't have a single one. The Quran further doesn't understand the nature of the sun, the moon, day and night, because it makes it look like the sun has its light, the moon follows the sun, the day reveals the sun, and the night covers the sun. And further, it makes another mistake. I forgot to add the source here, apparently, that Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah in chapter 9, verse 30, which is something that comes out of ignorance. There is no such Jewish belief, and it has never existed as far as we know. So the Quran is not a book that is full of guidance. The Quran is a book that is full of some basic ignorant statements, as we can see here. And by this, I want to make the following syllogism. If there is only one mistake in the Quran, then Islam is false. There are many mistakes in the Quran, therefore, Islam is false. I went very quickly through these arguments and sources, but the point is that we have these foundations, the Quran, Muhammad, and Allah, in order to verify whether Islam is true or not. When we analyze these foundations very thoroughly, we clearly see that these sources, these foundations are not reliable. They are very shaky. They rest on very fragile grounds. And once further analyzed, they collapse and crumble, such as just as Islam eventually then consequently crumbles. Therefore, I would say Islam is false with all the evidence that we have. I think that was 12 minutes, right?
That was 12 minutes exactly.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much for that opening statement, Apostate Prophet. And folks, want to let you know, if it's your first time here at Modern Day Debate, we are a neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. And we hope you feel welcome no matter what walk of life you are from. Also, my dear friends, we are very excited at the bottom right of your screen next week, a debate on whether or not the Bible promotes slavery. That's going to be an epic one. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as you don't want to miss it. And so with that, we're going to kick it over to Dr. Abdul for his opening statement of 12 minutes as well. Thanks so much for being with us, Dr. Abdul. The floor is all yours.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And again, the greeting of Musa alayhi salam. Assalamu ala man ittaba'a al-huda. The peace and blessing be of Allah upon those people who follows Allah's guidance. So alhamdulillah, James, if you follow Allah's guidance, peace and blessing be upon you. And I'm not wishing bad for you. I wish good, and future also, I wish that peace and blessing be upon you. And Ridwan, peace and blessing of Allah be upon you too, because we are here to discuss. We are not here to, curse anybody. So that's fine. And first thing is, I would like to say that I was expecting from Ridwan or James to introduce us about our qualification and our the expertise that we are in, based on academic education, which I didn't, get from James, but nor even Ridwan. And the second thing which I preferred, that because all my studies is based on my Islamic study from Quran and Hadith of Rasulullah, and that too in Arabic as a language, I preferred that these verses should be brought in Arabic, and Ridwan would have read it in Arabic so that I can discuss with him in that sense. But doesn't matter what I have to say now, Islam is true. And that's from my perspective, not from the perspective of Ridwan or from James, because yes, that's very true that non-Muslims will never believe that Islam is true. So definitely we have to accept that this is how they believe, and that's the reason they want to prove it that this Islam is false, and which Ridwan has done in a very short, discussion in the opening. So let me tell you first, alhamdulillah, I will answer all his questions and I will reuse all his evidences from Arabic, but maybe I'll not be able to finish all his arguments here. But let's see now the understanding of Allah. The argument that Ridwan has brought is on the other side, but let me tell you, Islam is true based on Allah is true, Quran is true, and Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is true. And that too is all based from the Quran and Hadith, because that is the only source we Muslims believe in. So when we talk about Islam, Islam starts with La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, which means it speaks about Allah and also it speaks about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And truly, Ridwan said that when a person wants to become Muslim, he will say La ilaha illallah and Muhammadur Rasulullah, that there is no God to be worshipped except Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. That's perfectly correct. A person cannot be a Muslim unless he believes in that. So let's see, when we say La ilaha illallah, that means there is no God to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only personality that to be worshipped, and that is based on chapter Surah At-Tur, which is verses 35 and 36, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it very clear that Allah is existing and Allah is the only deity that to be worshipped. And the reason is Allah has put this question, Allah has put this argument to the people who do not deny the existence of Allah. Allah has put this argument, Allah has said that, are they created? Let me read that verse to you, all those people. Let me read that verse in Arabic and I'll give you briefly the explanation of that. It is in Surah At-Tur, as you know, and this is the chapter 52. I want all my audience, especially non-Muslims, I'm not worried about the Muslims, they have already said something they want to say. So now non-Muslims, please, if you have the Quran in front of you, please read this. This ayah says 52, chapter 52, verse 35. Am khuliqu min ghayri shay'in am humul khaliqun. Or were they created by nothing, or were they creators themselves? So this is the first question, that are they these people who deny, the existence of Allah? So how did they come into existence? Did they create themselves? And from what? Go back to the ayah. Am khuliqu min ghayri shay'in. Are they created from nothing? Am humul khaliqun, or are they creator of something? And then Allah says in verse 36 that am khalaqu samawati wal arda. Did they create the heavens and the earth? Bal la yuqinun, but they are not, certainly they don't believe in that. So this is from the Muslim perspective and from the person who has got intellectual power to understand, because there are so many existence in this universe that we see. So the first question is that if you don't believe in Allah as the creator, then how did you create? How did you create the things? And how did you create yourself? Did you create yourself? That is certainly, can somebody, like an example of a mother, can mother create herself? Can mother create mother? Then this is very clear, that created from nothing, self-created, created by something created, or created by something uncreated. So therefore there has to be someone, and that is a part of darura, which Ridwan will understand from Turkish language. We call it in Urdu as well, zaruri, and in Turkish also we say darura, and that's a concept which is in English we call necessity. So by necessity there has to be one creator, then there comes the creations. So all that is answered there. So why only one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Then we can say that the people may say, why only one Allah? Yes, of course it is only one Allah, because even when we see, I came from the martial art field. When you go into the ring, you cannot have two winners. They may draw, but still one will be still heavier than the other one, or overpowering one over the another, and there will be a chaos, like you can see now. Tyson Fury and Wilder, they're all now going for the third fight, because they don't want to accept one king in the boxing ring. So this is how. So this is the answer, that it is only one God. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Surah Al-Isra Allah has said, قُلْ لَوْ كَانَ مَعَهُ آلِهَةٌ كَمَا يَقُولُونَ إِذَا لَابْتَغَوْا إِلَى ذِي الْعَرْشِ سَبِيلًا. That if there would have been another, these people used to say that why only one Allah? Why we can't worship Lat, Manat and Uzza? Why we have to only worship one God? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, if there were other gods along with Allah, as they say, then they had sought a way against the Lord of the throne. Means they would fight with each other and become a chaos. And that has to be very, very clear that they would ultimately overpower one another and consequently destroying each other, causing chaos, destruction, and complete non-existence. Or one will be overpowered ultimately, but any who is overpowered being cannot be all-powerful. Definitely one has to be the powerful one. And no matter how many gods you bring, 10, 20,000, the same principle will be applied. So by necessity, it has to be only one and only who is independent and all-powerful. Yes. Now, when we go back to the Quran, no other book on the face of the earth can define God like this. The rest of the things I can discuss with Ridwan, and I can speak from Arabic perspective, how the verses go and how he has understood, because he can't just bring the translation and say that we have to go back to our own sources to understand Arabic, Quranic Arabic, the verses from Arabic language and Arabic understanding, and from the Hadith too. So this is very clear. No other on the book on the face of the earth has this definition what Allah, the Quran gives about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's gives the priority of Quran to over other. That's the only word of God can be like that. And the closest, the oldest testament is the closest for without falling into contradiction. So there's all the books you will find they will be having a contradiction, and the most closest book on the face of the earth other than Quran is the Old Testament that the Christians are having in their hands. That is Bible. And the Bible too has got the contradiction about the definition of one God. And the New Testament is talking about the Trinity. So alhamdulillah, only Quran is free from all these contradictions when it comes to the clear definition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all the miracles of the Quran are also just bonus evidence. So we'll talk about the rest of the thing. Next, let's go to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to Ridwan, whatever he has said, we will discuss that by points and points, inshallah. So let's see first. There is no doubt about his existence. Even the non-Muslims have confirmed that Prophet Muhammad was there. And we can see the book that is written in the history that he is one of the top out of 100. He's the top man who has the name of the book is the 100, a ranking of the most influential persons in history. And that was by Michael, the famous author, and he brought Muhammad on the top amongst the 100. And being a Christian, he brought Jesus in the third number. So that's within itself, in day and age today, it confirms that Muhammad is existing, and he gave the reason why he's better than Jesus. And as far as Jesus is concerned, only Quran speaks about his existence beside the Bible. Otherwise, no other religion has spoken any existence of. So Jesus' existence is doubtful. Moses' existence is doubtful, but we also believe in that. And same thing, if he was a liar, like seeking fame and fortune, then he could have become womanizer or world lord, etc., etc. Then all opportunities that he had, even before becoming the prophet, he could have taken one of them, like he was offered a beautiful girl. He didn't take that. He was preferring to stay with the widows and divorcees, and where women were much older than him in age. So this is one thing. He was offered the wealth. He didn't accept it. He was given the position to become a leader, and he didn't say that. He didn't accept that. And he was also given, so many opportunities to, and then finally they decided that he might be in delusions and he might be, a possessed person. So they tried to get him his spiritual treatment. All these things have been proven wrong because he was someone who has brought the new civilization. He has changed the Arab world in 23 years, and he has brought all this. His Quran was a debate for the people who were known as the best poets of his time. And he was the best amongst them. He could have become a poet and could have got the fame and name. But all these things, and This was the problem today, that the people, they don't understand Arabic, but those people, they understood Arabic. That's why whatever said by Muhammad, they did not accept it, that it cannot be from a person like him. He could be a magician, or he could be a soothsayer, or he could be a mad person, because it's something is coming out of him which is not from a human being. So I rest my case with this. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you very much for that opening statement, Dr. Abdul. And want to let you know, folks, regarding the format, we have these 12-minute openings followed by 6-minute rebuttals, which we're about to jump into. And so I want to remind you, our guests are linked in the description. We really do appreciate our guests, and our guests are also linked in the description box for the podcast of this episode or debate, as we do have a podcast which is linked in the description. And with that, we're going to kick it over to Apostate Prophet for his 6-minute rebuttal. Thanks for being with us, and the floor is all yours.
So what I got from Dr. Abdul-Majid's opening statement is I didn't get anything, honestly, not very much that I can argue with. He made a few responses to the things that I said. He didn't exactly respond to anything I said as I see it. When it comes to the Quran, he basically said that the Quran is the word of God because it is the word of God. He said that there are no flaws in the Quran because there are no flaws in the Quran, which is circular reasoning to me. I would bring up many flaws, many mistakes, many contradictions in the Quran, but as it seems to me, his intention is simply to dismiss them by either saying, let's read the Quran in Arabic, not in English, which I think is unnecessary, and we wouldn't consider something like that necessary in any other field. The Quran is a book like many others. It is not full of some very secret message that can only be codified, that can only be encoded in its own original language. We use translations and interpretations, authorized translations and interpretations of the Quran by Islamic scholars for 1,400 years, as we use translations and interpretations for many other books in the world. So when we read the Quran and we see many statements therein that are obviously flawed, we have to deal with those. We can't just say, well, you have to read it in Arabic, or the Quran is true because the Quran is true. We have to deal with the subject matter. When it comes to Allah, he basically said, I'm sorry, I don't want to misrepresent you, but Dr. Abdul-Majid basically said, Allah does exist because if Allah doesn't exist, then how do you exist? Or I think he said it in a much less in a worse way, to be very honest. He said, if Allah did not create you, then who created you? That is, I think that question doesn't entirely make sense. It's like saying, if you don't believe in a creator, then who created you? Or to be more precise, if you don't believe in creation, then who created you? I don't believe in creation. So the question, who created you, would not really make sense to me. But then again, that wasn't really the point of the whole discussion around Allah. I don't discuss theism. I don't discuss creation. I don't discuss the origin of existence and the nature of being. That is something that I think is rather irrelevant to the discussion of whether Islam is true or not. If there was a creator, if we did come to the conclusion that a creator exists, then that creator could be anything. It could be an uninvolved, unconcerned creator. It could be the creator of Christianity or of different religions around the world. That doesn't do much to the question of whether Islam is true or not. He basically said Allah exists because Allah exists, but there was no evidence attached to that. His approach to why Allah exists is basically like saying, if there is no thunder god, then who sends thunder? Or jinns, according to Islam, are made of smokeless fire. They are these creatures that nobody sees, and they are made of smokeless fire. And his question would be something like, if you don't believe in smokeless fire, then what are jinns made of? Well, I don't believe that jinns exist, so it would not make much sense to ask me what they are made of. Or it would be something comparable to, if there is no cycle of reincarnation, then how are you being reincarnated? Well, I don't believe in reincarnation, so I don't expect to give an answer on how the reincarnation works. So I don't believe that Allah exists. I don't believe that Allah is true. I don't believe that the foundations of Allah are solid, are convincing, and I gave many reasons for that, such as that the entire nature and the theology of Allah is flawed. It doesn't make sense for the perfect and almighty and all-knowing Allah to exist, to create us flawed beings, and then to judge us based on what he himself designed in the very beginning. If I could be convinced that that makes it sense, that that is coherent, then we could talk about the nature of Allah, but we haven't solved that problem, and we can't just skip one major problem and then go on to circular reasoning. When it comes to the issue of Muhammad, Dr. Abdul Majid basically said that there is no doubt to his existence. I agree. I wouldn't say no doubt, but I don't doubt his existence, and I don't argue against the idea that Muhammad existed. Honestly, it's rather irrelevant to me. What matters to me is that we have a character named Muhammad, and whether he truly existed or not is very much besides the point. What matters is all the things that he is supposed to have done and supposed to have said, and whether we can rely on those things or not, whether we can take his prophecies as true prophecies or not. We have a lot of evidence that he made false prophecies. Of course, you could say we have a lot of evidence that he made true prophecies and that he was a good guy, but that doesn't mean much if we also know that he was not such a good guy and that he made false prophecies, which invalidate all the good. If you only made one false prophecy, and we can verify that, then the 99 true prophecies can be dismissed because he made a false prophecy, and we have proof for that, if we have proof for that. When it comes to the whole issue of Muhammad was the most influential character, and that was declared in a list of the 100 greatest characters in history, a list made by Michael H. Hart. It's not something that I consider relevant to the issue, but I still can't help but comment on that. That is only one list of many lists in the world that were made about the most influential or greatest people in the world. That one happens to be one that lists Muhammad as the first. The problem is that this list was made by a person called Michael H. Hart, who is not a historian. He is actually an astrophysicist and also a white nationalist, by the way, who has a problem with Christianity and who therefore wants to divide the influence of Jesus into Paul and Jesus and put Muhammad on top of that. So in Muhammad being a good guy in an environment that is described by Islam as the age of ignorance, the pre-Islamic Arabs who believed in the most ignorant things, is not really proof that he was a truthful prophet. Thank you so much.
We will thank you very much. Apostate Prophet, we will kick it over to Dr. Abdul for his 6-minute rebuttal as well. The full word is all yours.
Thank you very much, James. James, my humble request to you is that please, if he needs 1 or 2 minutes extra to say, then that's very fine. Now I can only, put down all his arguments with due respect to him. I have a very high respect for every human being, regardless of what he says, what he does, and what he understands. Now, let me tell you one thing. He brought the final thing about very academic point, which he has referred to Michael H. Hart. Okay, that's fair enough. And he brought his qualification. He's saying he's not an historian. So my question to you, are you a clergy Muslim, ex-clergy Muslim? Were you qualified to be an imam and mufti and a scholar to bring these ideas of the Quran? And did you study this from the classical sources and then you understood it that this is wrong from their sources? And if that is the case, then you can object, Mr. Man who wrote the book, okay? 1 out of 100. So that is your relevant point. But since you yourself has said in one of your recent videos, when somebody asked you, if not Islam, then what is, what is the other alternative? There you have admitted yourself. You said that you are dumb like you. Means your audience and views. I don't accept that. You are not dumb. You are very clever. And maybe your people, the people who are following you, maybe they are dumb, but I don't look at you as a dumb. And you are saying you are a simple critic of Islam, which shows that you are not even qualified to be like that. Why I'm saying, because all those questions you have said, I will bring each and every verse and hadith of yours to tell you that you read only the translation of the scholars. You have not understood their commentaries. You have understood it that way. So it is your understanding. And the same verses I will read it from our sources. And as an authority in my religion, yes, authority in my religion, I have access to all the classical books where it explains these verses. And most of these scientific things that you have brought about sun, moon, this and that, I can just tell you, Allah is not telling any Muslim scholar or any lay Muslim to go and do the research, scientific research on that. We are not concerned about that. We are just known that Allah is the creator. And if not, then first question again comes back to you. If Allah is not the creator, then who has created the one who is saying I'm existing? So that's very clear. I can say that who created you people? How did you come into existence? Created, you have to tell me if something is existing on the face of the earth, how did that come into existence? That's my question. And if these things are not clearly understood, then how can we say that, you can deny the existence of Allah? And plus, are you a historian? Are you a scholar of Quran? Are you a scholar of Hadith? Are you, like you said that in one of your debates, in your question and answer, that you were Imam and you were like, your father was teaching and you were reading Quran, and you also supported someone when Quran was challenging that bring something like Quran. You brought Abdullah Gondal, who can't even speak Arabic properly, and he wrote the poetry, surah chapter. And believe me, Farid has given the answer to that. But alhamdulillah, I told my team that Farid should have spoken about the grammatical thing of that, because Quran in its language itself is a miracle, which many people, they don't understand. And that's why I feel more comfortable and easy if you would have discussed with me all these verses about Allah. You brought here on the screen, I have made a screenshot on that, and I'll discuss with that. And I will explain to you, look, and the audience will decide how I understand. And I don't rely on the translation, because English can be, understood in any way. If somebody is saying, okay, this is a Chinese book and read, and somebody may be reading the Chinese book, what's the point of reading the Chinese book if it doesn't understand what Chinese is? So that's the reason I said that I prefer that if you would have discussed, but I will definitely discuss with you. So my points are still there. Prophet Muhammad SAW was a well-known person. Because you are not historian, and you do not have correct historical base from our sources. That's why you have picked and chose, certain things about a negative of Rasulullah. And you did say in your point that please, before converting to Islam, you must know that Muslims always speak good about Allah, Rasul, and Quran, but there are certain things, crucial things that you should know. So you brought all those things. I can say you are specialized in that. But academically, I can say that, like James is going to do his PhD. Now, James, if he has to, work in the university and teach the subject which he has done PhD in, definitely the university will accept him. If I want to teach Islam, if I want to teach, because my PhD is in business administration, as an academic, I can teach lectures on business administrations, on economics, on finance, all that. But as far as your part is concerned, I think that you have already have got a list of 13 points, which you have put yourself very clear that you don't stand anywhere, even in criticizing Islam, because you're not even qualified to do that. So, but still, that is your understanding of the Quran and Allah and Rasul. So this is what I wanted to just end up here, that your argument is still baseless, because that is your understanding, and your understanding is wrong. And inshallah, we'll discuss furthermore, inshallah.
You got it. Thank you very much for that rebuttal. We're going to move into open discussion, folks. So with that, gentlemen, I hand it over to you for the next 45 minutes in free and open dialogue.
What I find a bit disappointing, I'm very disappointed, honestly. No, I am very disappointed. I have to say that. I have to be very honest. I think it's not very useful to appeal to authority and appeal to education and try to target me personally. I don't do that. I talk to everybody regardless of their degrees. When I brought up Michael H. Hart, I brought him up because it was your appeal to authority, which I then responded to. I don't really care who writes what. The thing is, it doesn't matter what kind of an education I have. I honestly think that Islam is a very weak topic, and that one doesn't need to be very highly educated in Islam. I am very well educated in Islam, and I keep reading on Islamic creed and Islamic jurisprudence every single day, and I have been doing so for a long, long time. But I don't even think it is necessary. That is necessary. The issue is that I have presented a lot of points, a lot of arguments, and a lot of evidence, and people are. I mean, the audience is waiting for the evidence to be refuted and responded to. If we spend time just targeting each other and making accusations instead of or dismissing those arguments, then the issue will not be resolved, and people will just go away from this by concluding that the evidence has not been refuted, and the case against Islam is therefore stronger. Dr. Abdul Majid, I mean, that's just my observation.
No, Ridwan, please, honestly, as I said that you're Olu, that means you're just like a son to me. I respect you for that, okay? Second thing, I didn't discredit you. You just brought the man and you compared his faith. You said that he is not historian and he has problem with the Christianity. So I brought that thing that if I compare him, still he is an authority because he is a learned man and he's an author of great book. And like James, again, James, when are you going to start the lectures in the uni, James?
Oh, I already teach classes as an instructor, but as I mentioned.
And don't you know that academically, when you want to teach a subject, James, won't they ask you about your qualification, your experience, your DBS, and etc., etc.?
I don't want to get too involved in the debate. So just to be sure that it's a conversation between you guys.
I don't consider this as debate. I consider you people as my brothers in humanity. That's why I'm openly, because this is, I want the environment should be not debate as a fighting and refuting and no. Just a natural understanding.
The discussion then.
Yes, this is the discussion. And I'm just, because I'm a teacher myself, I have been teaching here in the universities and primary schools, high schools. So I know, being an Indian and having this qualification, I had to go through so many other, questions and prove myself that I'm qualified to teach. That's what I'm for that point. But as far as Ridwan is concerned, so if with your permission, Ridwan, we'll take Allah's topic first and we'll talk about the 6 verses. If you give me enough time, then can I speak that from Arabic perspective?
Well, I mean, we would have to go back and forth. I mean, you can talk about them. It's just we can't turn it into a lecture on one part. I mean, you said we're not expected to review the Quran scientifically. I completely disagree. I think we're supposed to review the Quran entirely, and we need to know everything. So, can we discuss the points that I brought up, or can you bring evidence to tell us why Islam is true? Can you refute my evidence as to why Islam is false?
Okay, I'll take your slide. I'll take your slide. Number 1, you said that it is, let me go to this verse first. Okay, we'll take about it and then I'll give you time. And you didn't tell me what is your main source of learning this Quran. What is your main source?
I read the Quran through myself with transliteration, Arabic and Turkish side by side twice when I was a Muslim. I read it again in Turkish when I left Islam or when I was leaving Islam. And after that, over the years, I have read the Quran in many different translations and interpretations in Arabic, with the Arabic transliteration. I don't speak Arabic. I only analyze Arabic and know very much about the structure of the language. But yeah, I've read it in many different authorized translations.
Our classical book of commentary, did you read any specific?
I read big chunks of Tafsir Ibn Kathir. I read big chunks of Tabari, as much as it is available to me. It's not available fully in English, so it's a bit problematic. And some other tafsirs I did.
Is this the Tabari that you read? What Abdullah Gundal was saying, Tafsir Jalalain?
No. That's different. But I want to go into the translations. I don't think it is relevant to me to rely on what Muslim scholars and exegetes say about certain texts in the Quran. The issue is the average layman, the average Muslim or non-Muslim, will not rely on or even end up looking at the scholars. They will look at what the text says and judge it based on that, and then decide not to believe in this religion. So we have to talk about it.
No, okay. Ridwan, if you write a book, okay, on any subject, And if I'm as a layman, if I have a question which I don't understand or don't agree with you, shouldn't I have the right to ask you the question? Explain me this.
Sure, but the thing is, if I read somewhere, people asked Muhammad, when is the last hour? And Muhammad said, before this boy gets old, the last hour will come. Then I will say, uh-oh, he made a false statement. Look at this. I will not go to a scholar and say, can you please explain, can anybody please explain this to me? Please explain why this is actually not false, why this is actually true. You know, I will have to look at the text and conclude what it says.
Okay. ये किताब सुन्ना में जाओ, okay, sunna.com में ये hadith लेके जाओ. Okay, I'll come back to that, but I'll tell you, when you are saying about that particular hadith, I'm not going into that because I want to deal with every evidence of yours step by step. So that's what I'm saying. You know, you cannot say that the Quran, you know, can be understood or can be accepted or can be rejected just merely reading the translation. There are thousands of translations are there, and the one translation can be, you know, have you studied the 8 parts of speech of English grammar? Sorry, this is not test. I'm saying just generally, because see, when you read the English translation of the Quran, there are pronouns which are singular pronouns, and there are role pronouns, and the role pronouns can be plural form, like we, nahnu, like that. So I'm saying that based on that, the translation could be different. And in English, we have dual and singular and plural, but there is no specific word to define numbers two, like two things, dual. But in maybe please excuse me, my accent could be different because English is not my first language. So don't make a joke of my English language, okay?
No problem.
Okay. Second thing, in Arabic, we have when we say one pen, qalamun. When we say 2 pens, we say qalamani. When we say more than 2, we say aqlam. So in Arabic, the translation cannot be a reliable source. And if somebody brings the Quranic verse and speaks about the science which was something that was revealed into 1400 years ago, and the science is saying something today, maybe after 10 years, the science would change its mind and come up with another theory. So you are basing your, you know, argument based on the science, or you are not putting your argument based on the Arab English translation. That's unfair, Ridwan. You have to reflect back. If you really, I can say that, look, if you would have been Hafiz of Quran, yes. And if you would have been scholar in Arabic literature, which I am, I've done my master's in Arabic literature. I'm not showing off, but I'm telling you that if you have got that, you know, education to understand the Arabic of the Quran, and you have referred to the Tafsir ibn Kathir, Tafsir Tabri, not the Jalalain of Abdullah Gundal. He can't even know who is the author of the Jalalain, and he's bringing Imam Tabri. And you brought
let's not attack uninvolved people here. That's not the point.
No. You brought his surah. You brought his surah to defend the argument that the Quran chapters can be produced. And I thought that, Ridwan, if I had your personal number, I would have explained to you, Ridwan, this is a serious grammatical mistake in his first verse. So, okay, let's go to
here is the issue, Dr. Abdul Majid. Here's the problem. What you're suggesting is basically we have many authorized Quran translations. Some of them were authorized by very high Islamic authorities. We have Sahih International, we have Pictol, we have, I don't know, Muhsin Khan, we have all these English translations. We have new ones that are, I don't know, MAS Abdul Halim or whatever it's called. We have these very authorized, very, good, accurate translations of the Quran. We have translations in different forms. These are authorized. You are basically trying to dismiss the authorized certified Quran translations. On the other hand, it is a little bit absurd to expect that in order to understand, in order to judge, and in order to believe in the Quran or disbelieve in the Quran, we would have to read it in its original language. That's an unrealistic expectation. The vast majority of Muslims don't speak Arabic and don't understand Arabic. People who convert to Islam don't understand Arabic. Most Muslims don't understand Arabic. It is you would have to rely on certain people who can tell you anything.
No, because Ridwan, if they don't know, I know so many. I'll speak with those verses. Please give me time. I'm not escaping. I'm not running, and I'm.
The thing is, we should focus on the evidence instead of trying to argue about the issues around it.
Based on the translation, that's what I'm saying. So
okay, then let's talk about your interpretation of it.
Yes, you are, and the translation will not give you the something that has been revealed 1400 years ago.
Okay, then
And
tell me
there
where
were
it's wrong
people-
and tell me the correct version of it.
Okay, I'm coming to you. Something has happened 14 years ago, and now you are just bringing one sentence of that, and you're bringing the whole, making a whole story about it. That does not make any sense. You have to have a historical background.
Okay,
Why
I'm sorry,
this
but you
verse
have to
was
point
revealed.
out where exactly I am wrong instead of trying to, talk about what I'm
Your first
supposedly
mistake
doing.
is that you are not referring. You can read the Quran and you may understand, but you can say, I don't understand it. So how can I make you understand if you don't go to the main sources?
Then why
Now,
are we
first verse
debating?
you have
Then why are we
mentioned-
debating, Dr. Abdulmajid? If
Yes,
you're just going to say we can't understand it and that's how we just move on with it,
that's
then
what
how-
I'm saying.
why
Now
are we
I'm coming
debating
to
here?
you, okay?
Will you
Since-
respond to
since-
the issues?
No, Ridwan, since you said this, I'm coming to it now. Okay, let's go. Let's have a proper, give and take. You have brought this Surah Al-Dhariyat, chapter 51. Yes, it is.
Chapter 51, verse 56.
Chapter 51 and verse 56. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. It is very clear, I believe, that Allah is the creator, and Allah created the jinn and ins to worship him. So what's the problem with this? It's clear. You tell me what was the problem with this? Let's
problem-
understand verse by verse now.
The problem with this is that this is not solely on its own a problem. This is a problem together with the other verses connected. Because this verse says Allah created humans just so they worship him. But then we also find in the Quran that Allah created humans for hell, Allah decreed disbelief, and so on. So my question would be, if Allah created humans just so they worship him, then, mindlessly, then why did he create humans flawed? Why did he design humans? Why did he decree disbelief for them? And why did he create many of them for hell? If worship is his mission, then why do all these things? It doesn't make sense. That's a contradiction in and of itself.
Okay, the first question about this, first objection about this, let's start with this. That Allah created the people, jinn and ins, to worship him. Okay, so what's your first objection? Why did he create them? And why is he going to punish them then? That's the thing.
It is, if he created humans to worship him, then why did he create people who will not worship him? And why did he decree disbelief for them?
Okay, is that the only question? Now,
That's the first question of many,
first
yeah.
question. Okay, now tell me, suppose if you are registering or enrolling in the university, and at the first gate you are told, now because you don't have Islamic background to understand, tell me that I understood this from your sources. So I'm telling you, like, for example, if you go to a university and the principal or the head of the university says that, look, to enroll in this university, you have to maintain this criteria. And one of the criteria is that you have to attend the class, you have to attend the lectures, you have to attend all the courses, and then you have to attempt the exam. And if you don't, then the consequences will be XYZ. Is that wrong if you failed and you didn't mention that? Is that wrong?
That doesn't answer the question, because the problem here is there's a huge difference. I see the university, I go to the university willingly, I know the rules of the university, I know the principle and the tests that are given to me, I know what will happen if I fail the test, and so on. When it comes to Islam, it is only a belief, only a claim. I don't see Allah. I don't know that Allah does indeed exist. I don't know if the test is exactly as it's told. I don't see the results of the test. So this is a completely false comparison. And on the other hand, the university only prepares me for something that they have to do. Whereas Allah is almighty, all-knowing. He wants to create humans just so they worship him, but then he goes ahead and creates people who will not worship him.
No. He didn't create the people. You bring me one verse in the Quran where it says that he will just merely gonna put some people in the hell. Now that's a challenge to you. Bring one verse from the Quran where the verse that you have quoted 6 verses doesn't say anything exactly what you're saying. Let's see now. This is my challenge to you.
Okay, very easy. Quran chapter 7, verse 179, it says, "And we have certainly created for hell many of the jinn and the mankind. They have hearts with which they do not understand. They have eyes with which they do not see, and they have ears with which they do not hear. Those are like livestock, rather they are more astray. It is they who are the heedless." I repeat the very beginning, "And we have certainly created for hell many of the jinn and the mankind."
Why? Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why Allah created, why Allah is going to put them in the hell? You're missing the point in the verse.
Tell me about it.
Now Allah gave them the eyes to recognize the truth. And this is the same thing. The university gave you the principle. You don't want to follow the principle, and then you fail. So if you are failed, then you are failed. So Allah gave you the eyes to find the truth, see the truth. Allah gives you ears to hear the truth. And Allah gave you the heart or intellectual to accept the truth. And if you don't, and then you are expecting Allah to hug you and say, okay, come on, Ridwan, chalta here, no problem. No, you can't expect Allah to do that. And why Allah is only choosing them and not those who are obeying Allah's command? Why? So Allah, wherever any verse that you are quoting, people may be not listening to you or maybe not going back to your references when properly studying that. But everywhere, even the verse you quoted from Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, 6, 7, even that in Arabic it says, Inna alladhina kafaru. Inna alladhina kafaru, this is a past tense, and people who disbelieved in Allah, so that's the consequences, the result will come.
Okay.
Allah is nowhere saying, I merely chose X for the Jannah, whatever they do, I don't care. I chose, these people be for Jahannam, and I don't care, but this is my choice. I created them, and I'm choosing them to go to Jannah, Jahannam. No, the going to Jannah and Jahannam is our choice. And that is what I'm saying.
Okay.
People going to the university, passing, failing, it's their choice, their way. They do.
You're missing the point. You're not responding to the question. Again, as said, the university is a false comparison because I know about the university, I know about its laws, I know about the test, I know about the consequences. When it comes to Islam and Allah, it is merely a belief. It is something that I'm supposed to believe in, supposed to be convinced by. I don't actually see what is expected from me and what the consequences of it are. Secondly, it is a false comparison because, as said, the university is something that is necessary in an environment in order to take you somewhere. It is not an almighty facility, an almighty faculty that could just make you perfect and then present you to society. On the other hand, Allah is the one who originally creates you. He is almighty, all-knowing, and he creates people so they worship him. But then he goes ahead and he designs me, for example. He designs me exactly as I am, with my brain, with my eyes, with my capabilities, with everything, and my environment in such a way that I will be eventually unable to believe in him and eventually make the mistake of not believing in him and go to hell. This is what he created. So he punishes me for his own creation and his own decree. My capabilities were created entirely by him because everything is his creation, and my choices in life were entirely decreed by him because everything is his decree. Nothing that I do can logically be outside his design, outside his creation, outside his decree. So if Allah wants to create humans just so they worship him, then why doesn't he just create people who worship him and instead creates people and designs them for disbelief and consequently for hell?
Okay. Do you have a pen and paper, please?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Chapter Hud. I'm giving you answers for all the questions and objections that you have asked about Allah. Chapter Hud, which is chapter 11 and verse 119.
Okay.
It says, إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. The last part is yours, and the first part is supporting me. And this is very clear. Except him on whom your Lord has bestowed his mercy. Except, you see, Allah is saying that there are followers of Shaitan, and they followed him instead of following Allah. And this is not, Allah is not saying what Allah has destined for you. Allah has already, and I'll bring all these evidences to answer your question. This ayah it says that Allah created all the people to believe in him. He has not, created them to disbelieve in him. And this verse says that, and what is the proof for that? وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. Allah has created them so that they believe in him. Your understanding is wrong from one verse. You are saying Allah created them for Jannah and Jahannam. No, Allah didn't create anybody for Jahannam. This verse is the answer to your argument, where Allah says, "Inna illa man rahima rabbuk," except those people upon whom Allah shows his mercy. And I pray to Allah that may Allah have mercy on you and James too. James, please, I'm very friendly, okay? Don't mind for my compliments. Okay.
Dr. Majid, did Allah, can I ask you some very quick, brief questions?
No,
did
let
Allah...
me finish this point.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Please, I'll give you enough time. I told even James that if you need more minutes, you can take my minutes. I'm that generous, because big guy with 22 stones, I have got enough heart to take you. Because what you have done, I don't want to discuss that, but still I say that I ignore that, and that it's all right, no problem. وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. Allah has created them for that purpose. That means Allah created them to worship him and to bestow his mercy upon him. وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ. And also Allah has declared his declaration that there will be people who will be of this kind and there will be people of other kind. Then Allah confirms those people who were followers of Satan, لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. Definitely amongst those who will follow the Satan and go away from Allah's mercy, they will go into the Jahannam. Okay, this is one answer. Now I want you to reply to this if you can.
Okay, sure. I want to ask you very quick questions, Dr. Abdul Majid. Did Allah create everything, yes or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, did Allah design everything, yes or no?
Yes.
Did Allah decree everything before he created it, yes or no?
Yes. And I can give you all the verses to prove that.
Fantastic. So according to the Islamic belief and according to you, Allah created everything, Allah designed everything, and Allah decreed everything. One final question is anything outside of Allah's creation and decree?
No.
Okay, so nothing is outside of Allah's creation and decree, but Allah wants us to believe in him and he created us just to believe in him. So let's get this straight. Allah creates everything that happens. Allah designs everything. Allah decrees everything, and nothing is designed, created, and decreed outside of what Allah has designed, created, and decreed. And yet, Allah creates humans like me with capabilities supposedly and the responsibility to believe, but he creates my mind, my environment, my personality, and everything in such a way that I will eventually not be convinced by Islam, that I will disbelieve, and that I will therefore make the wrong choice of disbelief and go to hell. Now, the choice of disbelieving and going to hell, who decreed that? Was it my decree or was it Allah's decree?
Okay, I'm coming. Do you understand the difference between script and transcript?
Yes, but I don't. We already established creation, design, and decree, and nothing is outside of that. So,
yeah, but what is it? Is it transcript or a script? That Allah, what has Allah has decreed?
Both actually. Yeah. Both.
How come?
Can you answer my question? When I choose disbelief, is that my decree or is it Allah's decree? Is that my creation or Allah's creation?
Okay. Do you have the same knowledge of Allah?
Go ahead and explain it to me. I don't know.
So tell me. You read you know what Allah has described for you or decreed for you?
I mean, I know that it is. I don't know what Allah has decreed for me. I know that according to Islam, Allah designs and creates and decrees everything that will happen before it happens.
Okay, so
and Allah guides and misguides whom he wills, and no one can believe Allah's place decree.
Let's agree to certain points. Now you said that Allah has decreed everything, Allah has created everything, Allah has designed everything, and okay, and you going to the Jahannam. Now you're blaming that to Allah. Do you know that Allah has also told you? Allah has also told you that if you do this, then this is your end, and if you don't do this, then this is your end. Do you? I
never said the Quran is consistent. I'm asking. I'm
not saying about Quran. No, come on, stick to the point. We are talking about the decree of Allah.
Yeah.
Okay. Allah has decreed everything. Do you know what Allah has decreed for you?
I can't know what Allah has decreed for me because I don't believe Allah is real. So
Yeah, so that means now you are choosing whatever you are choosing is your choice, because you don't know whether Allah has decreed or not. For me, if you ask me, do you believe in Allah? I'll say yes, I believe in Allah. Do you believe in the decree that Allah has made, a script or a transcript, which you are saying both are same, which I can say even James will correct you, it's not same. Transcript.
no, I
is
say within the
different
context
from-
of Islam, it's the same.
No.
Dr. Abdul Majid, did you decree that you would believe in Islam, or did Allah decree that you would believe in Islam?
What?
Did you decree that you would believe in Islam, or did Allah decree that you would believe in Islam?
I have a reason to believe in Allah.
Okay, but
And I have a
did
reason-
you
I have
decree this,
reason
or
to
did
follow
Allah
Allah's
decide
guidance.
this?
Huh? I have a reason to follow Allah's guidance.
I understand that, but did you decree and decide this, or did Allah decree and decide this?
I don't know what Allah has decreed for me, but Allah told me what to do. That's my argument.
Okay, but
I'm not blind. No. I'm not blind having eyes. I'm not deaf having ears. And I'm not dumb having brain to understand. So my thinking is that Allah decreed something for me, but I don't know what. But
okay,
Allah,
but eventually Allah decreed it, right? So the point is not what will eventually happen. The point is whatever happens, did you decree it or did Allah decree it?
Ridwan, you're going to the destination, yet you have not chosen the route.
But that's what matters. Is it Allah's decree or is it your decree what eventually happens?
No. Why you're talking about Allah now? I said to you, I believe this is Allah's decree. But Allah is not saying, okay, I decreed, Jahannam for Abdul Majid and Jahannam for Ridwan. Allah didn't say that.
Okay, but I'm asking you. But I'm asking you.
Is decree a script?
But I'm asking you, so let's say hypothetically that you will end up with belief and you will die as a believer. Was it then your decision and decree to believe, or was it Allah's decision and decree?
Ridwan, I already answered you.
What is the answer? I don't hear the answer.
I already answered you that whatever Allah has decreed, I have not a single doubt about it. But what Allah has decreed for me, and I challenge you what Allah has decreed for you, nobody, even the third party, cannot say. So
I understand that. I understand that, but you're not answering my question.
Let's stop here.
No, you're not answering my question. I want to ask you.
I'm coming.
If hypothetically you believe, is it your decree or is it Allah's decree?
It is Allah's decree, yes.
Okay, fine. So it is Allah's decree. So that means Allah himself decided what will happen. Allah himself decided whether you will believe or will not believe. So it is Allah himself who has made that choice.
What did Allah decide? No, what did Allah decide? How can you say Allah decided believe or not believe?
I'm not saying he decided. I'm saying I'm presenting a hypothetical. If we are talking about somebody who ends up believing, then according to the Islamic narrative, according to the Islamic belief, logically, it has to be that Allah decreed that this person would believe, or Allah decided that this person would believe. If the person has any choice in that, if you decide or decree something, then that means that is outside of Allah's decree. That makes no sense. That is incompatible with the Islamic belief.
Should we base our argument on hypothetical understanding, or
yes.
should we base our argument based on the evidence?
No, we should base it on the hypothetical. That's how we are supposed to argue about this. If hypothetically somebody believes and dies with this with belief, then we have to discuss this in order to understand the logic, whether the belief was the person's decree or whether it was Allah's decree. I think we already have the answer. It was Allah's decree, which supports my point.
You are confusing people. Maybe I think because you yourself has got this wrong understanding. You are saying that if I disbelieve or if I believe, is Allah has decided for me. What is the proof for that? Give me the evidence.
That's what I'm asking you. I already asked you if everything is Allah's creation, design, and okay.
I asked you, what do you know about Allah? What Allah decided for you?
Let me ask this. If I choose, okay, let's forget about that. How about this? I chose to disbelieve in Allah, right? I chose to disbelieve in Allah. Was that my decree? Was that outside of Allah's decree?
It's your choice, and Allah will not do wrong to you.
Okay, but was that outside of Allah's decree? Was it my decree alone?
Ridwan, if Allah wants to punish me now, Allah can punish me. If Allah wants to send mercy to me, He can do that.
I
For
know.
you,
See that.
no, listen,
That's my
Ridwan.
point. But you're not answering my
Yeah.
question. That's the issue.
I'm
Was it
answering
my
your question.
decree or not?
Yeah. So why you chose that? Why you chose to be of
It
that? Why
doesn't
you're
matter
blaming
why I
Allah for
chose
your
it.
choice?
It doesn't matter
Huh?
why I chose it. I'm asking you, was it my
Why it
decree?
doesn't matter? No,
Because
why
it
it doesn't matter? If it doesn't matter you for what you're choosing, then it shouldn't even matter you to question Allah in the first place.
Dr. Abdul, you're not answering my question.
I'm answering your question. I'm saying
What
that
was it
why
my
you chose to
decree?
be.
Was it my
No.
decree to
Decree, I
disbelieve
said.
outside of Allah's decree? Was it my
No,
decree?
it's not. It's not.
So, okay, it is Allah's decree. So everything is Allah's decree. That means even if I have a final choice to disbelieve and go to hell, then that was decided by Allah beforehand. It wasn't decided by
Why
me.
is your final
Because
choice?
it doesn't matter why.
Are you
It doesn't matter.
qualified to choose your final choice?
No, it doesn't matter why. That's not the point of Dr. Abdul Majid.
No.
No matter what it is,
Ridwan,
even if it's out of
Ridwan,
ignorance,
suppose-
if I eventually choose
suppose
disbelief,
you
then
are
that means
saying-
that
Gentlemen,
was
I need to
decided
just-
by
just
Allah
because
Himself at the very
it's getting
beginning
so-
before I
hold
made
on,
the
I hate
choice.
to interrupt. Gentlemen, just
Okay.
because it's
James,
getting
James,
heated,
please,
and
go
I
ahead.
know that you guys are both passionate, and that's what we appreciate, because there's nothing worse than two debaters that lack passion, but you guys definitely have an abundance of passion. I just want to be sure that we get to hear from each of you plenty, so that as the guests want to hear from you guys, so that there's not too much interrupting. Go ahead. I think
no,
Dr. Abdul, you're going to
Ridwan.
respond.
Yes, Ridwan, my question is that you are choosing good or you're choosing bad, and then you're blaming Allah. And at the same time, you're saying you don't know. You're saying at the same time you don't know. Whatever you're saying to me about Allah, I said yes. But you are not letting me complete this. You are let
Go
me
ahead.
complete.
Go ahead, complete it.
I believed in what Allah has decreed, and it is a decree is not the script, it's a transcript. Remember that. You have to understand there is a big difference between script and transcript, which you have to understand. I'm not here to educate you. You are much knowledgeable than me, I admit, in the front of the audience here. Okay. Second thing, Allah has designed, Allah has decreed, Allah has decided, and Allah is saying that these people will go to Jahannam due to X, Y, Z reason, and that reasons are told. A person will go to Jannah due to X, Y reason, and that reasons are told. Now, the reasons are told. And my question was that I don't know where I will go, but I was told that take this route or that route where you will reach to your destination. That's simple for me to understand. But you're just reaching to the destination by your own choice. And then you are saying, this is what Allah has given to me. No, Allah gave you two choices. And you are finally choosing one. So why you are blaming Allah for that? And plus, you don't know what Allah chose for you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Again, I think it doesn't answer the point at all. Here is the issue. You say Allah decrees everything and you believe in that fully, and He creates and decrees everything. Thank you, by the way. And Allah decrees the reasons. Allah gives us reasons. Eventually, based on Allah's creation and decree, we come to a certain choice that we make between belief and disbelief. Allah created those choices, and the problem is, if Allah created, designed, and decreed everything, then Allah created me just the way I am. Allah designed my brain and my mind and all my functions and capabilities and my environment, everything that influences me. And finally, even if we come to those two choices in the end, if I make the choice to believe or if I make the choice to disbelieve, the eventual choice is also Allah's decree. If I truly have a choice, if I truly can choose independently between belief and disbelief, then that means I am making a choice that is outside of Allah's decree, outside of Allah's creation, outside of Allah's design. If I make a choice, and if Allah created everything, then that means He must have also created my choice to make that choice. Allah must have decreed long before it happens that I would make that choice. Whether it is the right choice or the wrong choice, it is Allah's decree. Can we agree on this? If I make a choice independently from Allah's decree, then that means I acted outside of Allah's creation and outside of Allah's decree, which would be in contradiction with everything that you believe in.
Allah gave you the choice. Allah gave you the choice. I can quote you number of verses if you want to hear that, because you can't prove me that Allah decreed Jahannam for you for no reason. I told you. Like, for example, you killed somebody and you say to the judge, I finally chose that. You can't punish me for that. That's my choice. You can't ask the judge to say, why are you punishing me? Because this was my final choice.
The difference is that the judge is not
will say-
almighty and he didn't create me at my choice.
There you are. There you are. So that's why you are. The judge will say, no, my dear Ridwan, my Habibi Ridwan, a killing person, you know it's a crime. And killing a life, you have to spend time in the prison. That is already told by the law. So law, that's what I'm saying. Allah has sent the law. Allah has sent the law, and Allah has already told you that
Okay.
if you abide by that law, and then you do this, and now the same thing. If somebody is being raped, and then the person, the rapist, go to the jail, a judge, he says, oh, it's my choice. You know, something happened to me. I take something, you know, marijuana, and I looked at this naked woman and said, it's her choice, my choice. And we did that. So please don't punish me. No, that's not, you can't say that. And then the judge will say, no, a woman can walk anywhere she likes. But you have to maintain it.
So I want to conclude the topic because I don't think we will get anywhere with this, but I appreciate the discussion, but I want to conclude it. Of course, you can add to it as much as you want. We should maybe move on to the next question after that. But I want to conclude it by just saying one thing. Dr. Abdul Majid, here's what I think. If I die and I go and stand before Allah and Allah judges me and tells me and asks me why I disbelieved, or he judges me based on my disbelief, I will say to Allah, hey, don't you know you are the Almighty, all-knowing Creator? Are you not aware that you created me in the very beginning and designed me exactly as I am, as the stupid, flawed, or smart, great being that I am, and that you decreed long before me what exactly I would do, and you even made my final choice for me. It was your decision. If I had a final choice, then that would be outside of your decree, which would be in contradiction with the fundamentals of your whole religion. So therefore, it is your fault. But go ahead and punish me if that's how you function. Obviously, you are not very logical. That's what I will say to Allah when I die, and if Allah exists. That is how I want to rest my case. If you want to add anything to it, please do. Let's move on to the next issue then.
No. Let me conclude myself. Come on, give me
I'm saying do it. I'm saying do it. Go ahead.
Okay. So people of your kind, I'm saying I never wish bad for you, and I always even taken the critics of my own people to talk about you. When I addressed in my few videos, I addressed you and David Wood as brother. And they told me, how can you call somebody as a brother? Yeah, somebody who's urinating on the Quran and kicking the Quran. I said, no, that's their choice. I don't mind. But they are my human brothers. I will address them as human brothers. I don't want to disrespect them. So then they even told me that you're going to call somebody as your brother who abuses your mother and your daughter. I said, forget it. That's their choice. So what I'm saying now, to you answer your question, first of all, there will not be any communication between you and Allah. I can certainly say that from the Quran when you believe like that. Okay, so you have no way to blame Allah. But I have the answer for your question. It is, let me take you to the one surah, which is 67, please, if you have the Quran.
Yeah.
67. Chapter 67. And I will read it to you, and inshallah you will know this is the answer for your question to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَلِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمْ. This is verse 6. That for those people who have disbelieved, okay, which I'm not saying you, but if you are saying, if you want to die like that, it's up to you, your choice. Those people who disbelieved in their Lord, they will have the punishment in the Jahannam, وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرِ, and it is the worst indeed that destination. Then, إِذَا أُلْقُوا فِيهَا سَمِعُوا لَهَا شَهِيقًا وَهِيَ تَفُورُ. When they are cast therein, they will hear the terrible drawing in of its breath as it blazes forth. تَكَادُ تَمَيَّزُ مِنَ الْغَيْظِ كُلَّمَا أُلْقِيَ فِيهَا فَوْجٌ سَأَلَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَذِيرٌ. It almost burst up with fury. Every time a group is cast therein, its keeper will ask. Okay, so you will not gonna ask Allah. Allah will not give you opportunity to ask him. If you are dying like this, Ridwan, I wish good for you. I wish best for you, inshallah.
Dr. Abdul Majid, I think we should conclude this. We are going on it forever. We're wasting a lot of time. The issue is, Very
I
nice
told you,
words, very nice words, but I'm not
Ridwan,
impressed by it. I don't think it makes sense.
Ridwan, the answer is coming. Answer
Sure,
is
go ahead.
coming. If you,
Go
if
ahead.
you if you want to discuss with me, I told you I'm an academic and I want to discuss point by point. Bringing
Okay.
all the 1,000 verses and one, not even one is understood, then that's not point. You can bring the whole Quran. It has got 6,000 verses plus. Okay, then it says, its keeper will ask, did no warner come to you? So Allah has sent the warner to you. Okay, so
No,
no
it hasn't come
excuse.
to me.
You can't say that this is Qalu, yeah. I came to
Has
you
not
now.
come to me.
I'm
Sorry.
a warner to you. No, I'm warning you.
You're a
قالوا
prophet?
بلى قد جاءنا نذير. Indeed, yes, I'm a warner to you, my brother. My brother, I'll tell you, I'm a warner to you. Listen to these verses, and then you can say whatever you like. وقالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. Indeed, the warner came to us. Abdul Majid came to Ridwan, and Ridwan was warned. But Ridwan said, Abdul Majid, you are a liar because I don't believe in what you believe in Allah.
I wouldn't say
deny
that.
Allah. Yeah, okay. وَقُلْنَا مَا نَزَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And I say Allah has not revealed anything because Allah is false. In antum illa fi dalalin kabir. You people are in a biggest loss and biggest, in a lost world. وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَعْقِلُ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. And you will say, and people of your kind, subhanallah, I don't wish anything bad for you, but people will say, Allah, if we would have listened to them, that's the reason why Allah gave you the ears and you became deaf. So Allah gave you the ears and you listened to it, and Allah gave you the brain to understand. You understood. Now you are saying in the hell, you are saying, if I would have heard, if I would have understood, I would not be in this place. فَاعْتَرَفُوا بِذَنبِهِمْ. They have admitted their sin and their mistakes. فَسُحْقًا لِأَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. So they should be put in the hellfire. So
Dr.
that's
Abdul
the
Majid.
answer. We can move on.
Thank you. I appreciate your knowledge. I respect your knowledge. And thank you so much for your nice words. The issue is, you might consider yourself a warner. You
I
might
warned
think
you, man.
you,
I warned you.
you might think that you have warned me appropriately. Unfortunately, it's not you. It is the
Today you will
Quran.
get
It's not
nightmare.
impressive
Believe me,
enough.
Today when you sleep, you'll get nightmare.
No, unfortunately it's not impressive. I'm not moved by it. I'm not impressed by it. I'm not intimidated by it, because to me it just seems illogical. It doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying that you are illogical. I'm not saying that you are a liar. That's not what I'm saying at all. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that the source
it's all
material,
right.
the
It's all
Quran,
right.
is unfortunately not good enough, and I don't see the logic in it. I mean, but we can move on from that. I think we could discuss about this forever. But
Okay.
the whole issue about Muhammad being a false prophet, and according to you, a true prophet who has made prophecies, and according to me, has made false prophecies. Is there anything that you want to add to that? For example, the whole question about when people came and asked about the last hour. How is it in Arabic? The Kumus, I don't know, whatever is mentioned. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's exactly what's mentioned there. So the last hour within context in other hadith explicitly with the same words referring to the day of judgment. People ask him when the last hour will come, and he keeps quiet for a while. Then he looks at a young boy in his presence and says, "If this boy lives, he will not grow very old until the last hour will come to you." That's what he says in Sahih Muslim, book 54, hadith 172, and also in many other related hadiths. This is, to me and to many people on a plain reading, a false prophecy.
Okay, Ridwan, do you want to discuss about this? And if I say something about this hadith, I'm not convincing. I always in my Jummah khutbahs, I say to the people, even the Christian scholars, they attend my Jummah khutbah, they come before the adhan and they attend my Jummah khutbah. I tell them I'm not convincing you guys. I'm conveying what I believe.
Okay, sure.
Okay?
No, that's fair.
Now let me tell you, you are quoting this hadith, which is, I'll tell you this hadith, and now I'll take you to the hadith. Now let's understand, you are pulling me to a right field. You know, you must have
a minute left. I'll give you the last word, Dr. Abdul. And so maybe if you can wrap it up in maybe a minute to 2 minutes at the most in answering Apostate Prophet's question, and then we have to go jump into the Q&A.
Okay, this hadith is not from one book. I'll tell you, this hadith is found in different books of hadith, and this book, I'll tell you, I'll quote you the narrations, and this hadith is not talking about the day of judgment. It's talking about the death of the people. is talking
No.
about the death of the people, and we as Muslim traditional understanding of our scholars and our religion, that a person when he dies, that's his qiyamah starts. And this is what Rasulullah ﷺ was referring. And you see the last part of Anas in the same quotation of yours. قال أنس ذاك الغلام من أترابي يومئذ. And that Anas said that this young boy was of our age during those days. So Ridwan, you are talking about the day of judgment, and I can give you the credit for that because you don't have the deep understanding of this ahadith, and you only pick up one hadith and you talk. And this
No,
is the
there are
problem
many.
with
This
some
is just
of the
one of
people,
them, and
even
this is about the Day of Judgment. They clearly ask about the Day of Judgment. It's implausible that he would then reply with
what we've got to do
your
is
death.
I've got to give. I can give you 30 seconds.
Ridwan, this is
Abdul
this
to
hadith
wrap up.
specifically talks about the death of the person.
It doesn't. It's
And
clearly
the
asked about the
Qiyamah
Day
is
of
there.
Judgment. It clearly asks about the last hour explicitly with the
Yeah,
same
in
words
this
that many
hadith,
other.
in these words, but the same hadith is found in 12 different places, and that
Must-
we can have a separate discussion.
But this is your
I-
interpretation. The text clearly talks about the
think
last hour.
It is true. We could potentially have an additional.
Yeah, no problem,
conversation.
James. No
We
problem.
will
I
always-
answered.
Gentlemen,
and
I think we
because
can move
that-
on to the QA. It's
we
fine.
have so many questions that I do want to jump into the Q&A, and it is absolutely true. We could do a part 2 of this discussion, as it could be
I
ongoing.
love it. I
And
love
so
it.
we
I love
we can definitely appreciate both of our guests. I want to remind you folks a couple of things. One, we appreciate our guests. Please attack the arguments instead of the person in the live chat or the comments afterwards, as well as both of our guests are linked in the description. And very excited that this is the first of our 2 debates today. We will have another one that you can see at the bottom right of your screen. Did dinosaurs exist with humans? That's going to be tonight. You don't want to miss it, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And then this one coming in from, thanks for your question, Yudahef Heku, thank you very much, says, if Allah knows all things, does he know what it feels like to have human experiences?
Is
To
that
whom is the question?
They're asking, if Allah is all-knowing, does Allah know what it feels like to be human?
it's for you, I believe, Dr. Abdul Majid.
Okay, definitely. If I am an electrician, do I have to know how the electric shock feels like?
Gotcha. And then this question coming in from Zagros Ozcan, more of a comment, says, gentlemen, present your best arguments without resorting to logical fallacies and be honest. We are watching. So got a fan out
Thank you.
there, you could say, in terms of cordial discussion, which I think this has been cordial. You guys have
Yeah.
been respectful and we
been
appreciate
nice.
that. And then this question coming in, we're going to try our best, folks, to ask questions one to the other so that it's alternating. Sometimes we don't have enough questions to do that, because sometimes we have a disproportionately large amount for one side, but we're going to at least do our best. So this one coming in for
Excuse me,
apostate
James,
prophet.
I want to comb my hair.
You got it. Free Your Mind says apostate is safe inset, namely mother sleeping with their son. I think they mean incest. Is that wrong? And don't say because you feel it is wrong. Like, why is it wrong other than that you feel like it's wrong in your gut?
Why do I think it is wrong? Wait, what was the question? A mother having what?
Yeah, so they say for incest, if a mother
Incest.
has sexual relations with her son,
Yeah.
why do you get, what reason do you have for saying that it's wrong other than that it kind of feels wrong in your gut?
Well, it's a very unrelated and complicated question that needs to be further elaboration, but you would have to ask me what I mean by wrong. I would consider it, of course, it is detestable, it is disgusting, but that's not the question. I would think it would be stupid and heavily dysfunctional because it would potentially lead to a very destructive, horrible outcome of deformed humans, deformed offspring. It would also generally lead to, societal decline in terms of, I don't know, incest is something that has been proven by scientific means, by our general understanding long ago, to be something that is extremely detrimental to the human health. And it is terrible to cause this for another human being because we have the sense of empathy and compassion. It is terrible to cause it upon yourself. Why cause more suffering? Suffering is objectively, wrong in so many different civilizations for a reason, because it's contrary to our desire, to our most natural desire to flourish and to be well. I mean, that would be my answer to it.
And Zagros Ozcan says, Dr. Abdul, do you think that your arguments are circular reasoning? Because I think they are. But what do you think, Dr. Abdul? My guess is you disagree.
No, what's the question?
They had said, do you think that your arguments are using circular reasoning? In other words, assuming what that they are trying to prove. And they say because they think that your arguments are.
No, I'm not here. But honestly speaking, James, to you and to the Ridwan and also the audience, I'm not here to convince anybody. This is what my understanding of the Islam that I'm presenting, and this is my understanding of Allah, Muhammad, and his Quran. And at the same time, if you would have, if this question, if you would have asked me what Islam says about incest and having sex with the mother, I could have straightforward given the ruling what Islam says about it. But since it was not asked me, so I won't say. But as far as my point is here, I'm always, as I said, my heart is opened. Even if you you can, Ridwan can say, Dr. Majid, your argument is not convincing me. That's fine, alhamdulillah, I still love him. And I told him in the Turkish language, we call young boys as son. So I respect him because I'm much older than him. And alhamdulillah, I can expect anything that comes from, younger boys like him, mashallah. Good, keep it.
Thank you.
You got it. And thank you very much for your question. DT asks, apostate prophet, can you explain why Islamic slavery is historically justified, as you said in your debate with Daniel?
I said before in my own video, long before, maybe not long before, but before my debate with Daniel, I said that I cannot judge slavery in history or people, slaveholders in history as evil or as wrong. That would be pointless because they were just doing something that was functional and justifiable within their own context and their own environment. I know this is a loaded question, but it doesn't really work that way, guys. I would only judge. Let me explain. I didn't explain why I would say that. I would say that I would consider slavery historically justifiable because slavery was used as a means by certain people to contain their opponents and enemies and prevent them from, from attacking again and humiliating and destroying you and making you go extinct. So that was a means why it was justifiable in the past. I wouldn't say it is justifiable anymore today. And while Islam advocates for timeless slavery also in our time, as Daniel Kikichu has argued, I would say Islam is thereby wrong because it is not justifiable today. We have better means.
Coming in from Apollos says, Dr. Mahid, is arguing at the false presuppositional analogy for general theism, but doesn't he realize that this is not an argument for Islam, but rather general theism, monotheism? What are your thoughts, Dr. Abdul?
See, I believe that Allah is the only God and there is no other God. And I gave so many reasons and there are so many verses which I can quote and explain explicitly from our sources, proving that Allah is the one who is the final creator and nobody, and Allah is like independent by itself. And if even Dr. Craig, who is the authority in Christianity, he has gone into the philosophy of Imam Ghazali, who is our Imam. He has taken his understanding of existence of God, and that is, he refers to Allah for us, and he's referring to Trinity God for them. So this is what I believe, that in Islam, it is only one God. In Hinduism also, there is only one God. This is a super God, and they have got different names of other gods as well. So they have subordinate gods, but they believe in one God. Hinduism believes in that. Christianity believes in one God. Judaism believes in one God. Islam believes in one God. But Islam is the only religion that defines the proper definition of what one God is. Clearly from, clear distinction between Allah as a creator and other things are Allah's creation. And as Rizwan said, did Allah create everything? I said, yes. Huwa khaliqu kulli shay'in. Allah says in the Quran that Allah is the creator of everything.
You got it. And thank you very much for this question from DT for Apostate Prophet says, you said that Christianity and Judaism are beautiful. What do you think of the verse Deuteronomy 13:6 through 10 that calls for punishing apostates?
Very nice related questions here. I don't remember saying that Judaism is beautiful. I would remember saying that I appreciate its cultural value. I would also say that I find Zoroastrianism beautiful, although it has very terrible aspects. If Islam was back in history somewhere, I would also find certain aspects of Islam beautiful because of its cultural preservation. I might have personally said that I find Christianity beautiful sarcastically, or that I might have referred to, being part of the Christian faith as beautiful. But the certain law cited in Deuteronomy is not a law that applies to Christianity. That is an Old Testament law by the Christian theology. But yeah, I don't believe in religions. I reject them. I don't think they're functional. I don't think they're reasonable. But the question is, again, completely missing the point.
This one coming in from Ra Betanis says, doesn't Surah 754 contradict 41, 9 through 12? Was the earth created in 6 days, as one passage would say, or 2 or 4 days, as another passage would say?
Okay, this is again a misunderstanding, because there are two verses which the last reference, what the reference did you give, please?
Yep, the last one
reference?
was Surah 41, 9 through 12.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's very simple. And there are two verses. One speaks about the whole creation of the earth and the things in it for 4 days, in 4 days. That's the first verse. Okay. وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ. This is وَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَكْفُرُونَ. Then it says وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ مِنْ فَوْقِهَا وَبَارَكَ فِيهَا. All this is, I'll tell you how it is. Because it is a problem with the people in calculation, and they're talking about, maths here, and they're trying to teach Muslim scholars what is maths, what is the, 2, 4, 4, and 2, 2, and 2, then again 2, 4, and 2. They say these are 8. But these are in two different verses. It's not in one verse. 8 number is not there. And a calculation of 8 is not there in two verses, one verse. So you can't, in Arabic grammar, even in Arabic grammar, you can't take the whole calculation based on two different verses. Definitely, the first verse speaks about 4 days. And those 4 days is actually the creation of the earth and things within earth, and 2 days of the heavens. That's very clear. And that is very clear from the Arabic text if the people understand Arabic. And that's why in the UK, when I used to have a debate with the Christian scholars, and I used to always discuss with them from Bible. But once they raised the question to me from the Quran, and I said to them, okay, you must be having in Luton, here I live in Luton, I said that if you have a Christian scholar who is Arab from his actual language, and he can read to me this Arabic and explain to me how he understands this, and I'll discuss with him. And wallahi, I swear upon Allah, if I believe in Allah, maybe Rizwan will laugh at me, but what Allah is swearing upon.
No, I respect it.
So I say that I without boasting, I educated that Arab, and I said to him, look, this is one verse speaks about 4 days, and the other verse speaks about 2 days. And those 4 days are not 2, 4, and 2. It's 4 days about the whole construction of the earth. Earth is different than the heavens. So earth took 4 days and heaven took 2 days. So it's totally 6 days. It's not contradicting from the verse chapter 7.
You got it. Thank you very much. And want to let you know, folks, we did a poll earlier, and I'm sharing this not just for trivial reasons, but we did a poll while there were 1,000 live viewers, and we have 42% of the audience being atheist, 20% being Christian, other 19%, and surprisingly, Muslim is actually 17%, the smallest. And so it is by about 2.5 times difference in terms of how many more atheists there are than Muslims. So we do have way more atheist questions, namely for Dr. Abdul. And so just want to let you know, we're trying to have them be balanced, but as far as I can see, we've run out of questions for Apostate Prophet. We have lots more for Dr. Abdul. So I want to let you know about that. We're going to try to move through these as fast as possible because we also have limited time and a lot of questions. But this one coming in,
I'll just leave then, or
this one from
goodbye.
From Stop Scamming Man says, hello, Dr. Mahid. In your estimation, if an ideal caliphate forms in the future, What should happen if an adult openly comes out as an apostate but claims to have secretly left when they were a child?
I will just say to them, good luck and go to a place where your life is saved. Don't stay in the place where you will be executed. I
You
even
got it,
told in
and-
one of my videos to Ridwan, and I even said to Dr. David that if you think that apostasy will, result to your death, come to my house. I will, give you protection. And if somebody wants your life, I'll give my life to protect them. And that's I said in my video is there. So it's a wrong concept that apostate should be killed. No, there's no authentic narration. I have a speech on that. I've given the evidence to that, and there are so many research articles from the Muslim scholars, authorities who have proven that the apostate can only be executed by Muslim authority, which is nowhere existing. It will be executed only if he becomes a threat to other Muslims, like he is coming up with the army to fight them, or he comes as the harib, not as normal person.
Can I ask you? Can I ask a follow-up question to clarify
I
that?
have to. I just want to. The challenge here is like we can do these really seldomly, and then I'd obviously have to give Dr. Abdul a chance to respond with the last word because the question is for him.
Okay,
but
can
if we can do these as seldom as possible because we have a lot. of
Okay,
questions.
Ridwan, you answer
this one
quickly.
this one is very crucial. The thing is, the question was in your ideal Islamic state, so the Islamic state that you would agree with. That was the question. So what would happen to people according to you, to apostates? And one more thing that I want to add is that according to the scholarly consensus in Islam and according to the accepted books of Islamic jurisprudence, it is an agreed matter that if somebody openly leaves Islam, then he is to be executed if he does not repent and doesn't come back to Islam. So what would you say to that?
No. Ridwan, again, in Islam, we have got lots of opinions. And, I can say that if you see the research articles written by the recent scholars on this subject, alhamdulillah, I'm not naive and I'm not against my khilafah. I said, yes, Muslims should be having khilafah and they will be all in peace. And the Jews will be living peacefully. Christians will be living peacefully. And the non-Muslims also will be living peacefully. At the same time, I have got 3 evidences, which I can't quote all of them, but I'm saying that there was a man who was writing the wahi, the revelation revealed to Rasulullah, and this man was a writer, he was scriber, everything, and he went back to Christianity and he left. Rasulullah didn't chase him, so he didn't kill him. This is one thing. Second thing, the last incident should be considered into consideration, and that's the act of the Prophet himself. When Makkah was conquered, there was a man who was also writing the revelations of Rasulullah. He left and he went to Makkah and he was taking the protection from people in Makkah. And when Prophet conquered Makkah, he went there and he said this man should be punished and should be killed. But Uthman stood up and he said, he's my relative and I want you to spare his life. And Prophet didn't say, come on, Uthman, what you're saying? This is my law. Somebody is apostated, should be chopped. This man should be chopped. No, he didn't say. He said, if you are taking his custody, then he is freed. And later on, during the time of the Caliph of Umar, he again became Muslim and he repented for what he has done. So
Nice.
Got it.
in
Nice.
Islam, we have this evidence that apostates
You got
should
it.
not be killed.
Okay.
And Ridwan, you are most welcome
bet.
to my house.
We have, I just
Thank
want to
you.
remind you guys, we have so many questions that I have to ask if you guys are able to keep your answers as succinct as possible. Otherwise, the audience will be disappointed that their question didn't get read. Asri, thank you very much, says, Dr. Abdul, do you believe in heaven, hell, the fire of hell has a literal meaning instead of it being a metaphor?
I don't believe in a metaphorical way. I believe it in exactly that way. And that's my strong faith. I know there are Muslim who so-called, scholars and muftis, then they consider it just to make English people happy to, say that there's no hell, no heaven. It's a metaphorical, way. No, I take it as a literal. Yes.
You got it. And thank you very much for your question. This one coming in from Rajat. Ranjan says, as Doctor said in his opening statement that Prophet only married widow or divorced, then why did he marry Zainab, who is his so-called son's wife?
No. So-called son's wife is different than the so-called real son. Okay, that is adoption, adopted son in Islam. That's what Ridwan has said. Islam has made very clear that having sex with the mother is a far thing for a son to ever think. Forget about it. Islam even teaches in chapter 4, verse 22, Islam teaches that even the mother-in-law should be respected as mother, and even the wife has been divorced, this man has no right to have sex with that mother-in-law, even if he has divorced his wife.
You
This
got
is
it.
very
And
clear in Islam. So even when you talk about the adopted son, daughter, it's the same ruling that if a person, if my wife, if my son has married, my biological son, and even if he has divorced her, that woman will still be considered as my daughter. I will never be allowed to marry her. So there's no question about it. Adoption is not considered as biological relationship. So that's a wrong, accusation about Rasulullah marrying him. Sorry.
you got it. And then thank you very much for this question coming in from DBK69, kind of for you, apostate prophet. They're criticizing the Christians that support you. They say these quote unquote Christians supporting an atheist is eye-opening. Apostate prophet, are you what are your thoughts?
I think it's completely understandable that I get the friendship and the support of atheists, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, ex-Muslims of all sorts and kinds. That doesn't say anything about their hypocrisy or their ulterior motives or whether Islam is good. It just shows us that many people have a problem with Islam because of the way Islam is, because Islamic sources explicitly insult and dehumanize all other groups of people very clearly over and over again. So if we are described in the very fundamental scripture of Islam as the lowest creatures and as horrible beings, then it's no surprise that people will come together against this belief. I also invite Muslims to come together with me and to join me in a friendly way. Unfortunately, that's very rare.
You got it. And Not a Chum, thanks for your question, says,
Yes.
Dr. Abdul, could Allah still be God and Muhammad be his prophet, even if the Quran didn't exist?
Okay, alhamdulillah, that's again irrelevant question, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2 verse 213, كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب بالحق ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the mankind to worship, and then when the man stepped on the face of the earth, Allah has sent the messengers, Allah has sent the prophets to warn them, which I already warned Ridwan. Today he'll be having nightmare. So they came with the warning, and they came with the glad tidings, and even the books were sent to them. So why the Quran is sent? Even if the Quran is not there, but the messengers would be there, and Prophet would have been messenger. But the thing is, I want to add one more point for Ridwan over here. Ridwan in his latest video, he said that when the question was asked, if no Islam, then what's then? So in that, Ridwan did say that I am poor atheist now. He said that I'm poor atheist. I'm not talking about atheism or theism or something like that. Then he said that I prefer that a person should be, Buddhist, which he said I don't want to be Buddhist. Then he gave the second priority to Christianity and Judaism. This is how he is giving the choices to the people, but never ever he said that leave Christianity, stay away from Christianity, stay away from Judaism, but always he says, and I like that slogan, that stay away from Islam. I would always say
That's
that,
nice.
alhamdulillah, if you want to stay away from Islam, stay away. We don't need.
That would be a little bit on. I just want to add 5 seconds, James, please.
5 seconds.
I would think that's a misrepresentation, because what I actually said was that I personally prefer to be a free thinker, independent from all of this, and there's nothing with that as well. I would suggest hedonism if it's okay with you, but these are certain suggestions that I have. That's what I said. But
This
yeah,
one coming
thank you.
in from, thanks, Kang Yasuk and Colossians 2:9 for your super stickers, as well as Sanjay Shahi says, hey, apostate prophet, I respect you for your knowledge and dedication. I have a feeling they're a Muslim who's saying that. So that's kind. And then Stop Scamming Man says, hello, Dr. Mahid, in your estimation, if an ideal caliphate forms in the future, should the hijab be compulsory among Muslim women?
Is question to me?
Yep.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Why you are talking about the caliphate or khilafah? Allah has already told the women to cover their bodies. Yes, it's not like, the people are showing the advertisement of the beach and they are giving, a proper suit for the men and nothing to the women. So this is how they are treating their women, which our Islam does not. Our Islam Allah has given them the command. So if a person is a true believer, and it's not the matter of the man, it's not the matter of the Khalifa, it's the matter of a Muslim woman. If she is a believer and she believes in the Quran and she believes that this command is from Allah, then she should cover herself the way Allah has told. It's not, I'm not talking about niqab, I'm talking about hijab. Yes, Quran did say that, and this is Allah's command. Whether khilafah is there or not, and that has to be understood by the women. Even the Western women who are converting to Islam, they know that last time, I know, I don't want to go into detail of that there was a basketball or match team, volleyball match, and the women were refused to wear underwears, and they were forced by the team members to wear the underwears. Otherwise, the women were saying, we will not wear underwears, we will wear shorts. And the men were saying, no, you are not allowed to wear shorts because your performance will be bad. And they were fined for that. So that is their culture, their life, and the women are happy with that. That's fine. We Muslims, we are not forcing our women. We are only saying that if you are sincere Muslim, then follow Allah's command. Don't follow your husband's command. Don't follow your father's command. Don't follow your Khalifa's command. You follow Allah's command if you think that you are sincere. If you are not, then good luck. MashaAllah, we don't care.
You got it. And thank you very much, Hogtown Biker, for your super sticker, as well as M. Warren says, apostate prophet, or they said from apostate prophet's 12-minute opening statement. Dr. Abdul, did you address his points?
I told you that he's one point I can give a whole lecture to make him understand. And that's why we just stood up about the creed. And I said that I believe in the creed. I believe everything is destined. And I know Allah knows who will go where, but we don't know. But Allah did tell us that, okay, he sent the books. I read the verse from Surah Al-Baqarah just now, that Allah sent us to live in this world, and he told us to worship. He sent the prophets, he sent the messengers, and he also told us that follow the book. So if we don't, then we will be crying in the hell, as I quoted from verse chapter 67, verses 6 and 7 and 8. And I gave the answer to Ridwan, and that's what I'm saying. If he reads those verses again, he'll definitely won't sleep today. He will take sleeping pills.
I hope so.
Got it.
Yeah.
Apollo, thanks for your question. Apollo says, apostate prophet went to an accredited college and said, Dr. Abdul, would you consider where you got your education to be a Muslim-biased school?
You can challenge me for my education. I can challenge even Muslim scholars if they doubt my education. I'm here to defend my education. I believe in Quran. I know Quran in and out. I have learned the Quran page to page, cover to cover, in Arabic, in tafsir, and I know usul al-hadith, usul al-tafsir, usul al-fiqh. Alhamdulillah, anybody wants to challenge me of my credibility, I'll take it. But if somebody wants to correct me my mistake, I will kiss his forehead. No problem. If Ridwan says, Dr. Majid, you made this mistake, and if I know it is my mistake, I will kiss his forehead, and I will not show that, no, I'm right, though I'm wrong. So I am ready, but somebody has to be of my caliber too.
I will come to the UK so you can kiss my forehead. Yeah.
Next up,
No,
thank you
but
very
you
much.
have not corrected me yet.
This one coming in from MB Khan says, what's the point of reading a Chinese book if you don't understand Chinese? And they're saying that Dr. Abdul used an argument analogous to this.
I'm saying if you want to be a Muslim, you should know Quran. And you should know the Quran how you read. Quran is not just a book of translation. Anybody can just read like that. Quran was revealed 1400 years ago to the uncivilized Arab of that time, and Prophet was changing their civilization. 23 years. Now, Brother Ridwan, he wants to be an atheist. He wants to throw away the law of Allah, throw away the law of Quran and Sharia, and he can compare only one example. He can compare the crimes which are happening in the families who are non-Muslim families, compare that number of crimes that is happening in these non-Muslim families, and compare the 23 years of Prophet's life, how many crimes took place there within the society, not even the relatives. So then that shows which law is And that law, to understand that, you should know language. You should know the original sources. If he's talking about Prophet's life, he brings only one issue that Prophet ﷺ couldn't say about the when is the hour coming. He doesn't know the meaning of the word as-sa'a. As-sa'a means the second, the minutes. We have seconds, 60 seconds. That is called sa'a. Period is called sa'a. Time is called sa'a. And the qiyamah is called sa'a. The death is also called sa'a. In Quran, there are 6 different meanings of the word sa'a used in the Quran. And my brother Ridwan, he doesn't know that. So he picks up one ayah or one hadith, and then he'll put his argument on one word. And then he says that this is a false prophecy. I can expect from him, because he says that it is not important for a person to know Arabic to know the deen. Or right.
Unfortunately, it says Takum as-sa'a, which is mentioned in numerous hadith the same way, in the same context, again and again, for the last hour, referring to the Day of Judgment. Unfortunately, I'm not taking anything out of context.
No. Ridwan, you invite me on your stage, and we'll just talk about this hadith. And then I'll take you to all these hadiths which are related, and I'm telling you on air. You invite me, I'll take you the full classical understanding of that particular narration, where it is found and what is the complete narration and how it is understood by the one who narrates it. I'm not even.
I wish we could have discussed that.
I want to give Abdul the last word, or Dr. Abdul the last word, because
Okay, sure. Yeah.
We do have so many more questions.
Okay.
This one coming in from Ali Nassar Ahmad says, if Muhammad was sent 4 all times, why did he marry 6-year-old Aisha if it's usual Arab tradition back then? But then why marry his daughter-in-law to break the same traditions?
He has to be educated properly. If he has to understand, then he has to go back to, listen, I can justify that, but because the people at that time, they had no problem. The father of Aisha had no problem. Aisha, she didn't have any problem. And the Arabs at that time, nobody has ever said to him that you are pedophile and you're having a sex with the 6-year-old girl. And people, they say to you that Abdul Majid, if somebody comes, he is 52 years old, and if he wants to marry your daughter, will you allow? I'll say yes, if he is of the caliber of Prophet's character. Definitely, because I know what is marriage, because this is what the people, it's good that you people are using the word marriage. But here in this world, day and age today, the school teachers, I'm in education, I know, school teachers are raping the young girls and nobody raised the issues about that.
Is it okay today?
Prophet is not raping her. Prophet did not kidnap her. Prophet did not flutter her and made her girlfriend and then took her in the party, had dates with her and slept with her for so many days and acquainted her with the sex. And then he went to her father, and said, okay, now I want to marry your daughter. No, they were.
James, can I ask a very short question that you can very briefly answer? Very briefly.
We have so many more that if you're willing to wait for a future one, just because we have so many questions still.
Okay. How about this? This will be one of two, maybe. Okay, I will not insist any further. Just this one question. Dr. Abdul Majid, is it okay today for a 50-something-year-old man to marry a 6-year-old child and have sex with her when she is 9 years old, just like Muhammad did back then with Aisha? If not, why not? Can you please very briefly answer this?
Okay, now my answer to you. Do you know, was she a young girl or she was a woman, young woman? What is it? How do you understand the English?
She was 6 years old and 9 years old at the consummation. That doesn't matter what else is there.
Was it a girl? Was it a small girl or was it a young woman?
We don't really know the details, but we could assume that a 9-year-old girl is by standard.
It's relevant, Ridwan. It's relevant.
Can you answer the question?
About something you are not sure of it.
Can you answer the question? My question was not about what she is. My question was about the age.
Yes, I can. You have to go and visit the Brazil. There are women at the same age. In Brazil, there are women at the age of 9. They are married. Okay, so go and ask them. Don't ask me, but you don't know. You even don't know that Aisha was a woman or a girl. That's the same shame for the people asking about our mother, our believer, our mother. And they don't know whether she was a girl or she was a woman.
A 9-year-old girl is not a woman.
M. Warren, thank you very much, says the focus of this debate is diverting way too far. They said AP opened with 12 minutes of important questions. And they said, Dr. Mahid, what was your PhD in?
Why he want to school me?
I think I think I assume it's
My
for the same
PhD
reason that you
my
brought up
PhD is
education
in
earlier.
Islamic banking. Yes, my PhD is in Islamic banking. Unfortunately, that university is closed down because of their corruptions. May God guide them. So now when I tell them that this is from this university and these people have got big mouth, I can school them in Islamic banking if they want. Here in UK also, I told them that if you doubt my qualification, I can school them, alhamdulillah. But it should be in a proper way. If they have got any questions on Islamic finance, they can tell me. I have done my PhD. My thesis was on Islamic banking, and my area of research was Islamic bonds, which is sukuk. So now if anybody has got any challenge, I'm willing to go with that too.
You got it. This one, thank you very much for your question. This one coming in from Zagros Ozcan says, oh, more of a comment. Let me just try to get to the questions. M. Warren says, AP's opening statement was the only part. Let's see. Not a lot of questions here. Zagros says, can't believe I say this, but even Nadir Ahmed, let's see. They said, Dr. Abdul, do you feel like you addressed apostate prophets arguments as much as Nadir Ahmed has in previous
No,
debates?
I'm not here to argue his arguments or address his arguments. I'm here to say what he is questioning me about what I believe. So I told him when you'll question my thing, I will address what I believe. So according to me, I have addressed that, but I'm not here to convince him, or not even James. I'm not saying, James, give shahada or you will die and you'll go to hell. No, I'm not saying. That's the way they have to choose. It's between them and the one who created them. If someone has created, or they might have come on their own.
Okay, and then Apostate Brain says, a question for Dr. Abdul. The Big Bang explains the existence of the universe. Also, conformal cyclic cosmology could explain what happens before the Big Bang. What do you have to say to that?
I wasn't there. If he was there, then he has to show me a video, please.
You got it. And
this is a rubbish thing. Rubbish. They talk about Islamic science and they want to refute this and that, and they want to bring about existence of God, existence of the creation. And they themselves don't know what is Big Bang theory, what is the splitting, what is happening, and what that has explored the whole universe. We have not yet explored our earth that we are living in. And Ridwan, he has got maybe millions of cells and tissues in his body, and even the doctors have not actually explored his cells and tissues in his body. And people are talking about the whole Big Bang theory and universe. This is, if they have the video and they have videoed that, how it happened, I'll believe in that.
You got it. And thank you very much for this question coming in from 12BKL. My shoe says, Dr. Abdul, offer salam to known non-Muslims and apostates, in parentheses, murtads. This is forbidden. And then says, Dr. Abdul, this, how are you okay with this?
I didn't get the question. James, can you please make it a simple way?
Oh, sure. They said, Dr. Abdul, how are you okay with the fact that you have offered salam to known non-Muslims and apostates? Doesn't the Quran forbid that?
I wish mercy for James. I wish mercy for Ridwan. I always love that. I want, because my religion teaches me, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. That you cannot be a true believer unless you love for your brother what you love for yourself. I don't want to be cursed. I don't want Ridwan to be cursed. I don't want James to be cursed. So that's my attitude. My people will not agree with me because they have criticized me when I called Ridwan as brother. And they said to me, how can you call somebody brother who is urinating on your book, Quran, who is kicking your book, who is tearing off the pages? I said, okay, come on, man. That's his attitude, but I cannot say that. That's my attitude. I will still respect him as a human being, and I wish good for him. That's fine.
You got it. And thank you very much for this question. This one coming in from Arn. This is for both of you. It says, question for apostate prophet as well as Abdul. Dr. Abdul says, Aisha was betrothed to marry Muhammad at 6 years old. What did Muhammad see in this 6-year-old? Intellectual challenge or human admiration or something else?
I quickly want to clarify something. I was just muted. I never urinated on the Quran, so that's a misunderstanding. Please don't say that. I never did that. But I only ripped it up once. That's all. That's the most I did.
But you
And-
did kick the Quran.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
Ridwan?
sorry. Yes, I kicked it too. Yeah, I did that too, in response to people saying I should be executed. But but the marriage, well, I don't know. I think Dr. Abdul Majid could answer this in a better way. I think, in my opinion, Prophet Muhammad was interested in a little girl. He also expressed before in his time the wish to. He saw a baby crawling, and he said, "If this girl gets older, or I want to marry this girl if she gets older, or something like that." He said that as well, and he wanted to marry Aisha when she was 6 years old. He had sexual intercourse with her when she was 9, which is just terrible. It's useless to argue whether she was a woman or not. She was a 9-year-old is not a woman by any standard. That's just my opinion. It's problematic.
Can you prove that? Can you prove that there is no 9 years old cannot be a woman?
I'm saying it's like even if
No,
it's
what is your standard? No, what is your standard, Ridwan?
even if it's a big exception that a 9-year-old girl has somehow is beginning her menstrual period.
No objection. No objection. Rasul
Okay.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not marry a girl who was not a woman.
Somebody
He
who's
married
a
not
girl
he
who
married a
starts
woman.
bleeding is not a woman. She's not ready to have sexual interactions. That's not how
You
it
have
works.
to give me the definition when a person is said to be a woman. You have to give me.
That's
and
arbitrary.
he
I'm
married a
speaking of the
woman.
biological standards.
Which
And
one? Can you-
a 9-year-old girl is not bodily ready to have sex and to bear children just because
who
she
said
starts
this?
bleeding. Science,
said
but
this?
basic
Ridwan,
biology says that
okay.
this is the
Ridwan,
beginning
you
of the
know
development.
You have my email, Ridwan. You have my email. You can give me the reference where the science says that. Okay, please.
Okay, I will.
want that.
Okay, I will.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
We must jump to the next question. This one coming in from Kobe. Kobe says, please ask, what had the innocent monkeys, dogs, and pigs done to deserve being killed and being called filthy and unclean? I think
That's
for you,
question
Dr.
to me?
I think so, yes.
No. It's wrong understanding. Those animals and the dogs which have been killed, it is mentioned in all the narrations, but it is again the problem is that people are picking and choosing the things. Definitely, when it comes to the pigs, it is very clear that even other religions also, they know why the pigs are not supposed to be consumed by the human beings normally. And I don't want to go that. This is our Sharia, we believe in it. When it comes to, harming the dogs, no. The religion says, the final hadith of Rasulullah says that those wild animals, wild dogs, especially the black ones and huge ones who were not amongst the wild domestic dogs, these dogs were told by Rasulullah to shoot them and kill them. Kill them, not shooting. Shooting is not allowed here. But maybe in America where Ridwan is, maybe he can have that for his protection. But here, so it was only those specific type of dogs were killed. And later on, Prophet said it is prohibited for the people to kill any dog. And dogs were coming and going in the mosque. They were going and coming in the mosque of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Prophet has also encouraged about narrating one narration that a man was walking by and he passed by a thirsty dog and he didn't have any utensil to quench his thirst. He went into the well, took off his shoe, filled up with the water and brought and fed this thirsty dog. And Prophet said that Allah was so much pleased with his good act, Allah will put him in the paradise. So this is the encouragement from Prophet that you should look after these animals.
You got to thank you very much for this question coming in from Arn. Says, for both speakers, so assuming they say starting with AP, experience trumps inexperience, why does Allah then reward his followers with 72 virgins? Does he not know this? And okay, I don't think that's a serious question now that I made sense of it. But if you would like to respond, Dr. Abdul or Apostate Prophet, you may, in terms of whether or not God or Allah rewards.
Yes, James, this is again a wrong understanding. Nowhere in the Quran it says about 70 virgins, and the hadith when it speaks about the time where the war was taking place and the non-Muslims were trying to stop Muslims from practicing their religion, and they were being put down by their own relatives. Then Prophet ﷺ has said, anybody who gives their life, don't feel bad about it. And Quran says, الَّذِينَ وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ يُقْتَلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٌ بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ. And in another verse, it says, yurzaqun, walakin la tash'urun, but you don't know. So those people among your family who are dead, don't killed in the war, do not despair from Allah's mercy. They are alive, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is feeding them. So
Yeah,
this is
can I-
very clear. That came into that context. Not
must
generally,
move.
everybody
Okay,
will get
okay.
the 70 virgins.
So according to the Islamic belief, the whole 72 virgins thing is a little bit controversial. It bases itself on a
Yes.
certain hadith, but according to the Islamic belief,
you,
every
Ridwan.
Muslims will receive virgins in heaven that are more beautiful than anything else they have seen before, and martyrs will get more rewards. But it is part of heaven that Allah creates these sexual beings for men to have and to enjoy, which is problematic.
No problem. No problem. We enjoy legal sex in this world as well.
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
This one coming in from Apostate Brain says, another question for Dr. Abdul. I'm not fully sure what this means, but oftentimes the guests understand because they've been kind of going at full speed and they get it. So they said, do you think human morality is something that keeps changing? How come Islam is the last religion if morality keeps changing?
There is no morality changes in Islam. It's the perfection. Quran was relevant 1400 years ago. Quran is relevant today, and Quran will be relevant till the end of time. And the teaching of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was the best example. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرِ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. In chapter 33, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Prophet Muhammad is the best example for all humanity, for all time, yes. And those people who are intelligent, people who are activists, human activists, and they know what moral they have. Mahatma Gandhi learned from Muhammad. Jinnah has learned from Muhammad, and Muhammad Ali has learned from Muhammad. Nelson Mandela has learned from Muhammad. Mother Teresa has learned from Muhammad. They have quoted so many things from, and these are all human activists. These people have praised Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. These people have said that this man was a superhuman being who could, change this world into 23 years in such a way where the humans were killing each other. They were burying their daughters alive. This man has changed their hearts. This man has brought the brotherhood.
We would have to
between them.
move on more quickly.
We
James.
must.
Come on, Ridwan, let me answer. Don't interrupt me when
But
I'm answering.
it's very long. I know.
I gave
I
you the
respect
chance.
that. I respect that.
I
That's
gave
very
you
long.
the chance to
to
answer
answer,
all
but
your questions. I never
is-
interrupted you.
No, it's fine.
Go ahead. It is true, though, that we do have more questions, so we want to be pithy.
I don't need to answer. We can move on. That's fine.
Stop Scamming Man says, Dr. Abdul, in your estimation, was it morally okay when caliphates forbade the building of new non-Muslim places of worship?
No, Prophet ﷺ, Quran says in Surah Al-Hadid that don't destroy the places of the people. Quran says that is where the problem is. People don't understand that. If the people are having their synagogues, Quran doesn't say destroy them and build anything by force. No. So now you can give the example of the Muslims in India. How many years the Muslim the kings were ruling there, and how many masajid today they have, and how many temples they have. In Dubai, I lived there for 40 years. Recently, when I left in 2006, I left Dubai. I came to this country. Sheikh of the Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed and Sheikh Mohammed Qasimi, the Sheikh of Sharjah, they built so many churches for the Christians. So Islam is you mean to say they don't understand Islam or they change it? No, it is nowhere in this. Quran says that you should not destroy the houses of people of worship.
I would just want to add 10
I'm
seconds
sorry,
to
I hate
that.
to do this apostate private, but we just have
Just
so many.
10
and I think
seconds, that was
earlier you said it
misinformation.
the
Give him the
last
chance,
one.
man. He won't have the food digested then.
I
Give
have
him
no
the chance.
I have no questions for you. Please let me add something to this, please, if it's okay, James.
Since Dr. Abdul said okay.
Okay. First off, the question was not about destroying temples. It was about about not being able to build temples. This is something that you can find in almost every jurisprudential book of Islam. Secondly, Muhammad destroyed multiple temples throughout Arabia in his own time. So that's just what I want to add.
You have to give the proof to me in the email, okay?
I already have done videos on that, but yeah, sure.
This one, Big Boy says, according to the Quran, Dr. Abdul, where is sperm located?
What?
They they said, Dr. Abdul, according to the Quran, where is sperm located in a person's body?
Sperm. I have to go and ask the medical doctor. I don't know, man. I've never checked my sperm where it is collected. I have to study Islam's book.
They seem to think
But
that
according to the Quran, yeah.
the Quran has a, like
So
that.
Quran is not saying go and check here and there. Okay, so if it is my Quran is not saying Abdul Majid go and check where your sperm is located. I have to ask the doctor now. Since you have asked me, I'll check it now.
Okay. Zach Rose Ozcan says Dr. Abdul, is Allah all-knowing? If he is all-knowing, then he knew in advance who would choose to disbelieve. If we have a choice, then is it implicit that Allah is not all-knowing because the chronology is no longer determined, so he wouldn't know the future?
That's the problem. The people, they don't know, and they don't want to admit their ignorance. They're saying Allah doesn't know. That's the problem. Somebody says that 2 + 2 is 4. They don't know it is 2 + 2 is 4. They say, no, it's not 4. So how can that be possible? So these dumbs, I'm not saying about Ridwan. Ridwan is not dumb, but he said that I'm dumb like you. He said in his last video, but I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the people themselves don't know certain things they don't know, and they come up with the ideas and they say God doesn't know. Do they know what God is actually? This is the first question. And then they're talking about God doesn't know this and no God, idiots. No, sorry.
You bet. This one coming in from Joe Schwartz says, genuinely curious, are you open to having your mind changed on Islam, or is your goal more to educate? I think this is for you, Apostate Prophet.
For me,
So.
I am open always to having my mind changed on anything. I just share my own information and my own knowledge. I don't think I'm absolutely 100% right. Even if it's something that I'm completely convinced on, there is always the possibility that I may be wrong about something. So I'm always open to it.
You're most welcome, Ridwan. Come to my house.
Okay.
You're most welcome.
You got it. And folks, want to let you know we don't have any more time for any new questions. We want to just finish reading the ones we have. So I want to give you a heads up. Please don't submit any more questions. Then Quick Lemon says, for Dr. Abdul, I left Islam after converting it due to the Aisha marriage. You will say it was common for the time, but that does not make it right. West has moved on from this, but it is still in Muslim societies today. Is that true?
No, it's not there in today. Give me one example where the woman is like, if she's not a woman and somebody married her. That's not permissible. Our books of jurisprudence, they speak about it, and they say that once a woman has reached the age of puberty and rushd, Quran says rushd, which is, that means she is mentally and physically prepared for the marriage, and which we believe, which Ridwan couldn't say anything about Aisha, which we know about her, because we have studied. She is the most knowledgeable person. At the age of 18, she was one of the well-known scholars of her time. So we know who was she, and definitely she was a woman at that time. And now Islam says that a woman has to be physically and mentally ready for the marriage, then only she can be married regardless of her age.
No girl is physically ready when she's 9 years old, and she was playing with dolls and watching entertainment.
People, okay, I can say.
Nobody is. Nobody.
But Arabs, yes. Arabs, come on, man. You stay with the Arabs. I lived with them for 40 years, man. I know how Arab girls are, man.
Next up, Happy Camper says, Abdul, will you explain on Nisa 4:34 to us? Are women allowed to strike their husbands if they fear rebellion?
Women are allowed to strike their husbands.
That's what it asks.
Come on, man. How can a woman strike the husband? I say, you can, Ridwan, I'll give you the fare ticket. Come to my house and have your wife interview my wife. 32 years, a man from martial art, knocking out everybody in the ring, and never ever touched my wife. I never strike her. Ask her. My 5 daughters, Ridwan, 5 daughters. I love them like hell. I will never ever prefer that to strike them. This is what I get.
But you are allowed to, according to the Quran.
No. Ridwan, I'm going to discuss this subject with you as well, because the Quran verse, chapter 4, verse 34 is described in the hadith. Rasulullah has indicated that if you want to touch your woman, even you want to strike, there is a discipline mentioned there, and people are just using the word strike. Now my strike and a small word, this skinny guy strike is different. If I strike somebody once, inshallah, he won't get.
So you are allowed to strike.
No, come on, you have to. What do you mean by strike, man?
You just said it's allowed to discipline, to strike.
How? When? And which woman? Do you know that
It,
verse
it, it,
34?
it doesn't matter which one. It allows a man
Come
to
on.
discipline his wife.
Ridwan, just you tell me. This is a personal question. The Quran says a modest woman in the same verse, and Quran says immodest woman in the same verse. Now, for example, just a personal thing. If Allah qaddar Allah, I wish no bad for anything, but I'm saying if you went to your house and you found your wife with another man, you will say, "Oh, my darling, it's all right."
No, I wouldn't slap her. I wouldn't kill her. I wouldn't do anything about that.
No, now you're bringing the word killing here.
No,
And you're
okay,
bringing
okay,
the word
okay,
slap.
okay. I wouldn't physically discipline her.
No. You use the word slap. Is the slap means a strike?
Whatever it is, striking means just hitting. I wouldn't
can
physically
teach you.
discipline
I
her.
can teach you from the hadith, because that hadith says that you should not slap the woman. You should not slap the woman.
It
That's the
doesn't.
hadith.
It doesn't say that anywhere to me, to my own knowledge. But
And if I'll tell you, what will you be? What are you going to admit in the public?
yes,
If
I
I'll
will.
bring
I
you
will.
the hadith?
I will say I was wrong and he proved me wrong. But I don't think that's.
No.
the-
If I'll give you the hadith, you will accept it.
If you give me a
The
hadith
hadith,
which
that's
says
it,
do
hadith.
not slap or do not hit your women, then I will say okay, he proved me wrong.
Yeah, okay. No, you use the word slap, okay? You said you will, okay, you won't harm your wife, and you will say, okay, no problem, my darling, it's your choice. It's all right. This is how this dirty God has decreed for you.
That's not what I said. I just said I would not hit or discipline her. That's not what I would do.
No, you said you won't slap her. I'm talking about the word slap.
Okay,
Now,
maybe I
hold on.
misspoke. I will not hit her. I will not physically discipline her. That's what I mean.
So no words of slap. You don't want me to give you the evidence for not slapping?
I'm not specifying slapping. I'm saying striking or hitting. I would
No,
not
but
do
if I
that, and
say-
the
if I say
Quran
that
the Quran
word
allows
says
that.
Don't slap your woman. If I bring that narration, will you accept it?
I'm not insisting on slapping. I'm insisting on striking or hitting. But yeah, I will accept. I will say okay. Well, I guess it doesn't say slapping, but it doesn't really matter. I'm insisting on that the Quran says hitting or striking.
That's the problem with people. Doesn't matter this, doesn't matter that.
Why
So nobody
is it the
can
problem?
convince. Rizwan, nobody can convince. You have to stick to one thing. When you're bringing a word, because I'm a very specific person.
But the
When
topic
I-
is hitting your wife.
Yeah, so in what sense? That's what I'm saying. We have to school ourselves first. Then when we talk about this man,
Must move to the next
because
one.
myself, yes.
This one coming in from, do appreciate your question. Happy Camper says, following Sunnah, in parentheses, Sahih al-Bukhari 5134, is it appropriate for adult Muslim men to marry 9-year-olds at this point in time?
Of course, yes, I'm telling you, you can marry a woman. I told you, it is the consensus of Islamic jurisprudence that if a woman is mentally sound and physically ready for marriage, she can be married regardless of her age.
You got it, and thank you very much for this question. Coming in from, do appreciate it, Azri Schizophrenia says, Dr. Abdul, based on my question earlier, you said that the fire is a literal meaning in hell. Then if jinns are made up of fire, how come we can't detect them with thermal detector technology?
If you will come to me, I'll show you. You are made of clay and I'll punch you. I'm made of a clay, and then we'll see how you feel the pain. If a clay can hit another clay and you can feel the pain, the fire can be, harm the other fire. Yes, simple.
You got it. And Salma Kazmi says, children marriage is RAPE, disregarding circumstances. Do you agree, Dr. Abdul?
I will agree by the law, and I have the conditions that if a woman is in the country where the law says this, that if a woman is mentally sound, which she can say yes or no for her marriage, because there's no forced marriage in Islam. Woman's permission must be taken. So that means she is sound and she is agreeing to marry and she is physically ready for it. I say yes.
But if she doesn't respond,
the
that
law
means she has
says no,
agreed.
If the law says no, I go by the law.
But if she doesn't say
Because
anything,
the law
then
says
her
that-
silence is her consent, right?
Yeah, of course, yes. But why would she remain silent, Ridwan? Why would she remain silent? Why would she remain silent?
For
Ridwan,
many
you have to be
many
practical.
different reasons, for fear, for
Ridwan,
being forced into it,
you
for so many
are-
reasons.
Ridwan, you grew up in a different world. Your family life is a different thing. Ask my 5 daughters. 2 of them are married. And I never ever told them that this is this and this is that, and it goes against your will. No.
Okay, but your personal experience doesn't matter. We're talking about what
My
is
personal experience is Islam. Ridwan, my personal experience, I am not the one who makes the law. I follow Islam. And this is what Islam teaches
Okay.
me. So I'm responsible for that.
Okay, so you are
This
Islam.
one.
Okay.
Coming in from
Yes, I'm
Zagros.
Islam. Yes.
Zagros Ozcan says, James, you shouldn't misinterpret my words. It's true. Once in a while, I do tweak the super chat questions so that we don't turn into internet blood sports. And Muslim, thanks for your question, says, apostate prophet, how do you explain the miracles of Prophet Muhammad and his true prophecies?
Wrong questions to wrong person.
What miracles, what true prophecies, excuse me. I mean, if you want to believe that Islam is true, and if you want to believe that Muhammad was a true prophet, I'm sorry for being so disrespectful about this. I thank you for your question. But I don't believe that Muhammad has any true prophecies. I mean, anyone can have true prophecies if you want to twist them and make them true. I don't believe there are any miracles. If we are talking about miracles such as there will be bloodshed in the future, well, that's not really a miracle. Anyone can say that. I can say there will be trouble in the future, and trouble will probably come. That doesn't mean I'm a true prophet. But if we want to talk about miracles, how about the fact that Muhammad didn't even know that diseases existed? He said that infectious diseases do not exist. They are a myth. And he explained this by saying, if one camel infects the other camel, then who infected the first camel? So there goes the miracle.
Must up. Stefan Zivan says, God gives men mustache hair. Why, according to the Quran? Does the Quran say, does it talk about this?
What?
Why God gives men mustache hair?
They have to ask God. Why they're asking us? So
I
they
don't
should
know. Okay.
Now in Europe, the women are suffering because they got the mustache now.
You
They're
got it,
suffering
and
for
silver.
the bleaching. Yes, bleaching of their face. And unfortunately, men, they should have the beard and mustache. They want to look like the woman's face. And women are in trouble now. So it's a problem. But this is something natural. I cannot say that you have to ask. Now somebody will say, why that guy has got eyes here? Why not on the head, top of the head? Why God created like that? Or why the man is, he's having mouth here and nose next to the mouth. Why not the mouth behind the head? So many people can ask so many questions, but they have to ask the one who created them.
You got it. And thank you very much for this question. Silver LTCE says, James, thanks for hosting. My pleasure, and hope you feel welcome, whether you be Muslim, atheist, you name it, folks. They also asked AP, if Sharia banking is against interest, why does Allah pay interest? A seed turns to a plant, or how some good deeds on earth get you into paradise.
You completely lost me there, but I guess that's supposed to be a sarcastic question.
So
But
your problem is started, Ridwan. You're going to have a nightmare. See, you're lost.
Next up,
Your problem is started, Ridwan.
Milf's Porch says Allah is just the name of a god. Muhammad is a prophet made. Let's see. I'm just confused by this, folks. If you can help me out by making your questions a little bit clearer. So I honestly don't understand what that's saying. Daniel Rodriguez says, Dr. Mahid, if Allah indeed guides and misguides and creates unbelief, why proselytize? And how are people responsible for believing or not believing?
Yeah, it's a big problem for the people. They don't attend the lecture from the very beginning. I did tell that Allah is not someone who is misguiding. That's the wrong thing. I did say that. I quoted the verse from Surah Hud, chapter 11 and verse 119, and I made even Ridwan to read that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants everybody to be believer. He doesn't want anybody to be disbeliever. But disbelief is their choice. And Allah loves Ridwan. That's why Allah gave him the choice. And Allah will meet him there.
I love Allah
Yes.
too. Yeah.
This one coming
I
from
know which Allah you love. I know. You must be loving your Allah, not mine. My Allah is, yes, Habibi.
I love this one here. But,
you got
Is
it,
that
and
your
this
Allah?
yeah.
Ridwan, is that your Allah?
Yes.
Okay,
Ex-
good. So listen, children. One day he showed the video and he made the video of the dog and he said that dog is my Allah. And this is what Quran says. The Quran says that, the people who are lost in their mind, they think, the bottle is my Allah, my glass is my Allah, my wife is my Allah, my daughter is my Allah, my dog is my Allah, my snake is my Allah. Sometimes the people even they say that I worship the private part of my wife. So that is my Allah. So this is how they are.
I do that too, but yeah, that's good.
Next
Yeah, I
up,
know, I
all right,
know,
enough
Ridwan,
of
good
this
luck.
stuff. Okay, Tunushi says, if Allah is known as the greatest or masterful deceiver, how is it different from what Christianity calls the arch deceiver?
You know,
the
they
greatest.
have to go back to their Christianity scholars, man. They have to ask them. Because like you know, somebody is, Ridwan was talking about the miracle of Prophet ﷺ. This question should have asked us, that how do you know that Prophet's miracle is? And people, they said that he was Majnun. How can a Majnun speak about something that happened? You know, Prophet didn't even travel from Mecca to Medina, then he didn't go anywhere in the world as such that we can say that somebody will come in the future will say that the two rivers are mixing, they're separated and they don't mix. Who said that? And how did Prophet know that? Isn't that enough for people of knowledge to understand that how did Prophet got this information? How did
Next up.
Prophet get that information? And how did Prophet get the information of the creation of the child in the womb of the mother? Was he a doctor? Was he a gynecologist? But these people, they don't have understanding because their understanding is, you know, so narrow. And this, most of this, I'm not talking about Ridwan. Ridwan has said in his video, he's not satisfied in this life. So he's looking for the peace. He's looking for a complete satisfaction in his life. So he's doing, and I wish that he'll find soon. Otherwise, if it dies, then he will die with no completion of his satisfactory. He said in his video, when the people, they said, what is the alternative? He said, I'm still looking, you know, to get settled down in peace. So there are people, all these atheists, or sorry, not atheists, I'm talking about ex-Muslims, they all have bad experience in their life because of their upbringing, because of their surroundings. They blame Islam for that. Tell me, I was an atheist, born in a Muslim family.
That's a baseless accusation. I wouldn't say that. That's a baseless accusation. Yeah.
Of course, you have the stories. You brought so many videos. They all are crying. They all are crying. This lady, mashallah, beautiful lady, nice lady, maybe
because of Islam, they're crying.
I don't know. She will be your second wife. I don't know. But she is crying. She's crying about she was raped. She was done like this. She was abused like that. And then you are entertaining that. So what is the proof about Islam being wrong for that? If somebody is doing wrong to her. If somebody, like recently in the BBC, they were showing that the children are being, you know, raped in the Christian church and all that. Should I blame the Bible for that? Should I blame the teaching of Jesus for that? Should I blame the Christian scholars for that? No, it's the people, human beings. They are doing that. So that cannot be, you know, addressed to the religion of someone.
This one coming in from Happy Camper says, Dr. Abdul, why did the prophet put his mouth in the mouth of a child, in parentheses Hassan, and then says Adab al-Mufrad 1183. This is considered as pedo stuff today, not a kiss.
These people, I don't know why they're going to that book. That is called Adabul Mufrad. That book is to teach them the manners. And these people, they don't have even the manners to read the book properly. And they're talking about my prophet. My prophet is kissing his grandson and making him to, you know, this is normal. I have seen here in this Western world, everybody is kissing the dogs and this and that, and they are just licking every part of that. And they have, look, this gentleman, just now he did something, maybe he'll do something more. So why people have problem with my prophet doing that to his grandson?
Thank you for that. And then this one coming in from Arn Rurvik says, the Quran says, lie to them. It's okay. I don't know who them is. Is it?
Ridwan, by the way, I've got 6 cats.
Oh, that's nice. I like cats. I have a dog and a cat.
Alhamdulillah.
You got it. The last question they asked Arn said, Dr. Abdul, does the Quran say to lie to anybody and that it's okay?
Where does it say?
They're asking if it does.
There is no verse in the Quran where Quran says the lies. Quran says the curse will be upon the liars.
You got it. And with that,
do you remember any verse? Ridwan, do you remember any verse?
I don't remember any verse in the Quran that says you are allowed to lie. I just remember certain concepts within Islam that permit speaking ambiguously or concealing the truth or lying out of necessity. But yeah, that would be different.
You got it. And thank you.
What necessity is there? Huh? Oh, good.
You got it. And then want to say, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to our guests. We want to encourage you folks in the comments afterward, attack the argument instead of the person, as we really do appreciate our guests. They've been very cordial. We really do appreciate them. And they are also linked in the description, and that includes at the podcast. So thank you, Apostate Prophet and Dr. Abdul. It's been a true pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much. Thanks, everybody. I
Ridwan,
appreciate
you're
it very
most
much.
welcome to UK. Ridwan, you're most
Okay.
welcome to UK.
I will come in, and
too.
you will kiss
You
my
come to my
forehead.
house, we will, if you correct me, otherwise I'll hit on your forehead. Remember that.
Thanks so much.
Okay,
Thank you so
then.
much.
Okay then. Bye-bye.
Thank you both. And I will be back in a moment, folks, with a post-credit scene to let you know about upcoming debates, including the one at the bottom right of your screen. So stick around for that in just a moment. And thanks one last time to our guests. Be right back in a moment.
And stay away from Islam.